Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday, the 29th of January, 2017. I'm your host, Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
Prepare for possibly the shortest podcast ever, or much more likely, the longest rambling game section ever.
And Robert Kemp.
There's no news.
Is that true? I don't know.
There's not big
Yes, you
news.
do. It's not like...
Well, come on. We've at least got some random to get through, haven't we?
No,
Dear me.
haven't got any of that either.
Oh, crap.
I'm randomly not well.
That's not particularly interesting even. Not even an interesting illness. It's just like
It's unfortunate.
No, it isn't a particularly interesting illness. It's unusual for me. Well, I suppose it's not my chilly pains. It's just random pains in my
What
stomach.
did you eat, man? Nothing in particular.
Well,
Yeah.
it was like a ploughman's yesterday. We had the quiz night that we went to. I suppose that's news quiz night.
What, at a pub? Random pub?
No, it was a charity quiz night that a friend of Naomi's was putting on.
Ah.
We came 100% average. Right in the
really?
middle.
Right, slap bang in the middle.
Yeah.
What kind of questions are they?
You can't trust a pub quiz though now, right? People
No.
with phones and stuff like that.
No, people cheat
You
all the
can't
time.
trust. Like the scores were so high. Like I think one of the teams had only got like a couple of the questions wrong over the entire evening, and it's just like, seriously?
Yeah, it's annoying. Yeah. People always assume I'd be good at pub quizzes for some reason. They think, I don't know, they must think I'm smart or something. That doesn't make you good at pub quizzes. It's not about being clever at all. It's just about
It's about knowing random stuff, yeah.
random
Because like,
shit,
there was a high skew on geography in this thing, and I am not good in geography at all.
No, me either. It's like, I know a lot about specific things, but not general things.
Yeah. It's like nearly a whole third of the points was dedicated to knowing capital cities of countries.
Oh, wow. I really can't do that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm terrible at that. I got like 3 and got 1 wrong. Yeah, there was a high stint in that, and there was an entertainment round, but I was like, yes, look, maybe there'll be some music and film in-depth stuff, and it's like, no, it was more about the people around the stuff, if you know what I mean. It's like, how old is this person? What's this guy's middle name? And it's like, that's nothing to do with the actual film or the music.
No. It's just pointless facts that, like dates are the worst, or ages of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Like who cares what year that happens? I don't know.
Yeah, and there was a whole sort of true or false round of like random stuff, and I spent like half that round sort of questioning like just sort of picking apart the questions, going, all right, like because they were like based on like surveys and stuff. It's like in a recent poll, it was decided that this percentage of people who did this thing, and it's like, well, okay, how are you measuring that? It's like,
what's your methodology?
Yeah, it's like who made the survey? Is it like, because if it's a Daily Mail survey, then that means something, right? It's like it's going to be skewed.
That it's total crap, probably.
Yeah,
it's not exactly Getty or whatever. Not Getty. Who is it? Getty do the photos. Who do the polls? Beginning with a G. Fine. Can't remember.
Gatherers of data.
The data gatherers.
I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. There's some of them where it's just like, some of them was just me being stupid, where it's just like, if they said 13% of people did this thing, it's like, oh well, and the answer was higher than that, or we thought the answer would be way higher than that. We were just sort of thinking, well, okay, if this is true, does that mean that it's well, 13% of people are like this, but then there's another 10%.
That's not how that kind of question works. It's like, yes, 13 and another 30%.
Yeah. I mean, is it technically true if you say 13% of people do this, but then there's another 10% that also do that thing? I don't know.
That just doesn't sound like
I suppose it didn't say at least 13%, I guess.
Just seems like a really lazy question, to be honest. It's not interesting. It's not an interesting fact that some poll said something, is it? I don't know.
Well, they were trying to tie it into like, I don't know. Well, one of them in particular was like, what does the average Londoner spend on eating out? How much of their income is spent on eating out? And
right.
and it was like, and it was like it's 11. No, it gave you that was a multiple choice one.
Give you ranges,
so like some percentages, right. And it's like, well, is it this percentage, or this percentage? And it's like it's 11%. And it's like crap. And it's like that was slightly better, but then the other ones were like, what is the I don't. They worded it real weird. Like, what is the human decade at which most people get tattoos? And like by that they mean like, is it your 20s or your
the human decade?
Brilliant. The human decade, in which you're most likely to get a tattoo.
And it is
your 30s,
right? So what?
We've all learned something here.
What tattoo are you gonna get?
One that says "Don't put a tattoo on me."
That would be hella ironic.
This is not a tattoo. You will just get one that says "This is not a tattoo."
What, like this is not a pipe?
Pretty much.
But that
pipe.
But that it is a tattoo, like. Because isn't that the idea that it's not a pipe because it's a picture of a pipe, right? That's painting. So it's like it's not a pipe; it's a picture of a pipe.
I guess that's allowed, yeah.
But if it's a tattoo that says this is not a tattoo, that's not true because it is a tattoo, isn't it? It's not a picture of a tattoo. It is. If the painting said this is not a painting, that would be false, right?
Oh yeah, but then I could give it an artistic, pretentious title and say I've got a tattoo. I call it Lies.
Yeah,
Lies. Okay.
Or more specifically, Lie.
Or maybe just alternative fact.
Yeah, post-truth.
Anyway,
this is my post-truth tattoo.
Definitely need to stay away from politics this week. Not that we don't normally, but yes.
We don't normally.
No, we do normally. I said not that we don't normally. It was a double negative. Yes.
Double negatives makes twice the bad.
Twice the bad.
Good sentence.
That's amazing.
It's like two. It's like if you like take a. The thing problem with a double negative, right, is like in one you could think of it as just 2n rather than minus n, so as you end up back at the start. Like it's 2n. It's two negatives. That could be bad.
I'm never going to understand that. So
no, but
not in English. I'm just saying in general, like the phrase double negative, it could be it just has two negatives.
Oh right, you mean like a kind of
work.
Coming back to politics, you mean like Orwellian style, like double plus good or whatever, Newspeak style, right? Double. No, what would be double plus bad?
Double plus good.
Have you never come across that?
No.
Have you read that book? It's quite good. It's sold out apparently. Like the sales have gone through the roof of 1984. But one of the ways in which the government like suppresses like free speech and sort of general thinking is to like change language so it's more simple and you have less ability to express yourself. So they get rid of words like there is no really amazingly good or awesomely good. There's just good and double plus good. And same goes for bad. There's not awful, terrible. There's no terrible or awful. There's just double plus bad. They just make language really super simple so that you can't. Anyway, yes.
I think they've made it more complicated. well, at the very least, all they've done is they've tried to make some kind of like scale of good that everyone has to adhere to, right?
Yeah.
The good.
Yeah, there's no
boundary of good.
There's no chance. No, like how bad is awful?
Yeah, exactly.
Specifically, how bad is it?
It's double bad.
Double plus bad.
They shouldn't have used plus though. They should have had negative. Then I guess that's a double negative. So they just
but that's more complex. If you have because it's simpler.
Yeah, but plus
to have
is an inherently positive thing because it's literally
no, it
positive.
just means. But they redefine it to just mean more. Right. Anyway, Newspeak.
But then what do they do for addition?
Triple bad.
There's a whole appendix at the back of the book that explains how it's supposed to work, but I don't think it's that fleshed out, really.
I don't think it's actually well thought out.
Probably not, no.
It's not all well thought out.
No.
Uh...
Yeah, exactly. That definitely deserves a Rob. This is a joke.
Yeah, it does.
I quite like Adam Buxton's approach to that is when he tells a shit joke, he leaves a long silence and then just makes a little fart noise. Like that.
I don't know. Whenever you talk about like how Buxton does things at the end of sentences, I just remember the way he treats happy face at the end of tweets. It's just like, hey! Every time he he doesn't just say smiley. It's just like, hey!
I think that's not even the standard smiley noise. That's like a quite enthusiastic smiley.
What's the standard smiley noise?
With less enthusiasm than that.
Or is it just?
That's got to be the smiley with a capital D noise, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's a hey! Way! What is the smiley
What's the
noise?
standard smiley noise?
I don't know.
Is it like a
It's good about that.
Maybe just an E.
Any kitchen bitchins, Egg?
No.
No house grouse?
No.
Been so cold.
That has been a problem. Mainly for me, because I go to bed at like 3 o'clock in the morning after the heating's been off for like 5 hours.
Ages. Yeah.
That's another problem with this new actual heating system where it's not just on all the time. Now that we don't have a coal fire any longer. It actually gets cold when the heating's not on, because it's not on.
There's still there's not something burning 24/7.
No.
You're saving the planet, man. Your hardship
Or not.
saves a tree.
We still haven't. Still, who knows the actual figures? We're still burning all the coal we had left over just in the fireplace now.
Okay.
Chuck it on top of the wood.
Oh, really?
Like it's like
You won't order
I was
anymore.
wondering about that because it's just like, what are you going to do with all this coal that we still got left? It's like, well, I guess we still have somewhere where we can burn it.
Yeah, we have a proper fireplace. Let's use this.
Although I don't know if that's like bad for you because more of the fumes are getting into the room if you're burning coal in an open fireplace.
Does it not?
Sure.
But the chimney is working,
Yeah,
right? You
Sure,
should get a
but
draft out the chimney,
you can
right?
still-
That's how it's supposed to work.
You know, you still smell the burning, which means
Yeah,
some
you do.
amount of the stuff is getting off into the room.
That's
It's
true.
not that bad. It's not super terrible though. It's not like you're filling the room with a visible smoke.
Yeah, you're meant to have a draft that goes up the chimney, right? And the drawers.
It's such a
Draws it all
stupid
up.
design, isn't it? Right? Like, because the fireplace draws both the smoke and quite a lot of the heat up.
Well, yeah.
So
How
it's,
else are you going to do it?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
not like that, I guess.
It's true.
Probably why fireplaces are painted black.
Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe.
They radiate all the heat.
No, but isn't that just to hide them getting smoky and black and
Well, that
horrible?
too, probably.
It was a double win. Double plus win.
It's a double plus win. Winnest. I'm assuming they didn't have superlatives in this Orwellian nightmare.
No, they get rid of them. That's the idea.
No superlatives. You can't be
No,
most bad.
I don't think so.
I can't be the baddest mofo in town. I can only be the double plus bad mofo in town.
Mofo in town. I don't think mofo is allowed. But I don't think they'd invented that at the time, so... although it is 1984.
Would I be the
isn't
double
it?
plus? Would I be the double plus blad?
Glad.
The double plus bad maternal copulator in town?
Quite possibly. Oh dear.
There we go. Yeah, I got nothing. Really. I got nothing. It's not been a particularly random couple of weeks. I've just been working hard, and it's been a bad couple of weeks at work, and
Lame.
well, just a stressy couple of weeks, and it
Yeah.
doesn't really create particularly brilliant anecdotes.
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 Anecdotes. You've not been driving up to...
No, I got away with that. Got away with that these last
Nice
couple of
work.
weeks.
Cool, yeah.
I am in London twice next week, though. One time is to go see the filming of Dare O'Brien's 8-Bit.
Oh, really?
They're doing a second season.
Where is that?
There we
At, like, the stupid stadium. What's it called? Near there, is it?
It's west of West London. It's sort of out.
Wembley.
Yeah, well, it's more out of Watford, I want to say.
Right, okay.
Past there, quite a way past there. I can't remember the name. I keep getting it every time, and the name corrects me every time I say something like West London. It's like, no, it's further than that.
Right. What's the other thing? Work. I think.
Yeah. Work. That work. Where's the second lyric in that song? Right, because it's like I'm doing work. You see me doing derp.
I don't know. I think
it's the derpy song.
The one between the work is he said me happy, which means he said I have to, right? But in Jamaican patois, right?
Right.
Or Barbadian, I suppose, because she's from there. He said me happy, work, and work means sex, I think. In that context.
Well, it's a Rhianna song, so
yeah. So yes,
there's a high probability of that.
Yeah, but that's about as far as I go on that one.
See me doing derp.
Derp. Yeah.
The derp song.
Anyway, yeah. I'm sure it's some sort of very culturally sensitive thing, or not at all, being as it's a stupid
probably
pop song.
Not.
Yeah.
If it is about that kind of work, and you want to see them doing derp,
I haven't seen the video, so I don't know.
No, I've got no idea.
Derp in the video.
He's gone to Amsterdam. That's what's happened.
Right. Should we do the not news?
The not news.
News.
Not the game clock news.
Top story this week. Xbox stuff. So what have we got? The stuff about the new what's it called? Project Scorpio.
Project Scorpio, which is still the name as far as we know.
Which still has a chance of smashing that PS4 Pro in the specs and actually regaining something.
That is 100% their plan.
Yeah.
The Pro is only supposed to be like a slight upgrade, wasn't it? And this is supposed to be pretty much twice the power.
Right. But
of PS4.
But just like PS4 Pro, you won't be allowed to make a game just for Scorpio. No,
they have been careful to word, at least in their previous things. So we should clarify this. It's like apparently, Phil Spencer went out tweeting about that. He's played the Scorpio hardware and it's looking good, and it's looking good like that. So it's it's real, and it's that sounds like the hardware design has now been finalized. A whole 9 odd months before it's due to come out.
When's it due to come out?
Well, holiday this year.
Really? Interesting.
So there's, he's saying that's good. And then just to blow that up a little bit further, apparently a white paper regarding the specs and what you should do with it and how developers need to handle this thing for now got leaked. And some in-depth discussion about what is and isn't in this paper has erupted, but it still seems like this thing is still going to manage to maintain its claim of being the most powerful console.
True, but it can't make the frankly unattainable claim of being like a truly 4K console, because you can't barely do that with a souped-up PC, really.
Oh no, well not on a single graphics card. I don't know how. I'm running that 1080 card, which is, I guess, it might be the most powerful consumer card. There's probably more powerful cards than Nvidia put out there in their Pro lines, like the Quadros or whatever.
Well, they have that. But I think they still do the whole ridiculo Titan business even now, Titan X or whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they'd come out with the updated Titan yet. I'm not sure.
I think there is a ludicrously more expensive and only slightly better Titan. That's why I was waiting for the TI or whatever, because it's not stupid, but they haven't, and they didn't announce that, by the way, in other news.
In other non-news.
Yeah, because people thought they would announce that at CES and they didn't. Anyway.
CES happened.
Yeah.
Nothing came out of that, did it?
No, nothing. Still waiting in non-gaming news for some kind of decent wireless in-ear headphones to come on the market.
Right, sure.
They don't exist yet. I mean, there's the Apple AirPod stupid things, but I'm not getting those.
No.
Anyway.
But anyway, I guess the thing about this story is that while pretty much everything is riding on Scorpio now in terms of Microsoft's Xbox strategy, because now they're canning games left and right, and then where their lineup looks not brilliant at all, really.
Thin.
You put it next to Sony's work coming up, and it's just like, well, you got Crackdown, you got Halo Wars 2.
You mean for this year?
Probably Forza 7 this year. Probably. It's like, although we don't really know that for sure, that's slim pickings, right? Well, we don't even know Crackdown 3's for sure this year, in fairness. And I can't, off the top of my head, think of what other exclusives are coming.
They've got their pirate thing.
Oh, yeah.
The Rare
Sea of
thing.
Thieves.
But no one's going to have the consoles to play that. I mean, that needs to be like really multiplayer. I mean, you'd have to all your friends would have to have Xboxes. I suppose that's true, but
there's the thing as well that all those titles are likely to be PC cross-platform.
Well, that'll be all right then.
So yeah, I don't like in terms of Sea of Thieves getting enough.
But then Sea of Thieves will just become a PC game at that point, probably. Likely, given how multiplayer focused it is.
And also apparently, like, the word is at the moment that the sales figures for like Xbone and PS4, like in America, they're actually really tight now in terms of total base, but the rest of the world still favors PlayStation.
Right, interesting.
But in America, at least, it's like the playing field is somewhat level. But yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like the software side of Microsoft is not enticing at all now that they lost Scalebound. Scalebound was my top pick. Like I won, even if that game was probably going to be crap. Like, let's be honest, it didn't show massively well. Like, but there was a style to it and a thing to it that that Platinum Games normally brings to the table that I kind of dug. It reminded me a bit actually of the Ninja Theory's DMC, and it's like I'm kind of into that. Look, this is real interesting. It's a new IP, always good. Well, not always good, but always interesting. Always interesting at the least.
Virtually never good.
No, but always interesting at the very least. And and they scuppered that. So now I'm left with like, I never really cared for Crackdown, so I'm not into that.
I mean, Crackdown 1 was kind of insane and fun, but it wasn't like a franchise type thing.
No. It's a weird one.
Yeah, that could have been a standalone game and never had a sequel. It would have been fine.
The problem is, I guess, these days that Saints Row 4 kind of went and tried to do the Crackdown thing, right? And did it probably pretty good.
Yeah.
So...
And also, for the original Xbox One, they're discontinuing the Snap feature, apparently.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That whole thing, that was the first demo they did for Xbone, was snapping, right? They sort of like watch TV. Well, no, actually, the very first thing they did was talk to Kinect and go watch TV, play game, show movie, and then some Star Trek turned up.
All that bullshit, yeah.
Yeah. And then the next thing they did was, let's snap some TV to my game. Or some game to my TV, or whichever way around.
Skype or whatever.
Yeah. So this is one of the marquee features, I guess, of the original Xbox plan. No, I don't use it for anything. It's complete, like, because the snap
pizza tracking.
Yeah, that was the novelty we did once because we could.
Because it's stupid.
Yeah.
Although I do use the tracker on the web.
Oh sure,
the one that gives you push updates. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
but
there's
nothing
wrong with the Domino's
Xbox.
Pizza tracker.
Yeah. Apart from that, you have to turn off the sound yourself every time.
Well, yeah, there's that as well. It'd be quite neat if it just notification, like Windows 10 notifications just popped up on the screen, so your order has progressed out for delivery.
Yeah, they could do that with the web developer speaking here. They could do that with the new Service Worker API in Chrome.
There you go.
Boom. You may have noticed that Facebook does that, right?
Sure.
On Chrome.
Yeah. Well, anyway. But then I've got the app installed on my PC, so it's just.
Oh really?
Oh, and Chrome has its own notification system as well.
That's the one. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's developed on a, proposed open standard, so every browser can implement it.
Opt into these.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Yeah, so it's. I don't think it will be missed particularly. The only thing that Snap is actually useful for is when you load. It's the default for the achievements panel, which shows you in it's nice because that would sort of make sense for achievements to show it in a nice compressed vertical form. But I don't know. You don't really have that open whilst you're playing the game. I suppose you stop to read it to see what you've got to do next or something like that. So if it came out in a Xbox 360 style, like just overlay, that's also fine.
I guess.
I did show, yeah. I did see they have sort of briefly mentioned or have been toying with this before, because there was a in the Kotaku story for this, someone in the comment thread had said, yeah, they've been toying with this for a while, and showed like a screenshot of Forza with a Twitch overlay just in the middle of the, like on the right hand side of the screen, but it's not snapped per se, it's just overlaid over the what's going on, so you can see what you're streaming and what the chat's saying.
Okay, yeah.
So still not ideal, I suppose, for that stuff, but probably better than snapping something to your screen.
Yeah,
just losing space.
Losing space, yeah.
I guess the only ever like real ideal solution to snapping would have been like if the games could have been aware of when something was snapping in and shrink their output window to accommodate, right?
I don't think it's ever going to really fly. I don't know. Maybe you could add APIs, but I don't know.
I mean, then you'd have to be designing games for resizing windows and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So it's like which definitely gets trickier.
I mean, they already have all their trouble with, automatically resolution changing or whatever it's called, dynamic resolution.
Is it dynamic or adaptive or
adaptive,
like
and then the upscaling and all of that stuff. Imagine if you then had to do that for a different aspect ratio, like every time the user decided to, I don't know, look at some stuff from their buddies on Twitch.
Yeah, what's my Twitter feed doing right now? I'll just have that on screen whilst I'm doing this. It's weird because like the Xbone's like app structure actually showed some promise in the early days. Like I remember the was it the Rio World Cup? Was it or it was in Rio, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Just Brazil.
Just Brazil in general. Okay, it was the Olympics. It was in Rio, but it's all in the same place. So.
Because they put a little snappable app out on Xbone for that, and so you could have it snapped and see results as they came in and things like that, and it would be notifying you. You can look up things while
you could get a notification every 3 minutes when Germany scored another goal.
Pretty much, Brazil. But if that was the thing, that actually worked when it wasn't snapped either. You could unsnap it and have it, and it would just be sat there, and it would occasionally notify you of stuff going on. And it's like it would just put up a little classic Xbone notification saying goal, and it's like, and it's like that was actually kind of okay. I was into that. And then no one's done it since.
Maybe they should have just gone for smart glass instead, really.
Yeah, but smart glass was such a failure as well. The whole second screen
thing. If they just made it better,
they
made smart glass easier to do, which they could have easily done by now, because lots of other things have started using second screens much simpler. I mean, even just Jackbox is like a prime example of how you can do that pretty easily.
Sort of.
Just a web page that serves all the different things that they run. I mean, it's a very simplified system in general, but
that's massively basic, and also relies on having there needs to be a server architecture there to run it, whereas smart glass was directly connecting to your console.
If you just made a decent enough app for the phone, you shouldn't have a problem really, and it wouldn't have been sapping nearly as much power off the console in theory, I guess.
Yeah,
it would still be taking some to transmit the stuff to the phone.
It's one of those things, because I guess the second screen was always going to be difficult, right? Because they would have to have had a standardized form by which stuff could be sent to it, and unless you're doing like a full Wii U trick of having the game being able to render to two separate outputs, like in its own engine, in its own method. It's like that was always going to be difficult to get to work.
You don't need to do that for like anything fancy. It would only need to be like for the operating system stuff, like the achievements panel, where it's just
that's there. That already exists.
Well, yes, but they should have made that the way
app
to do it.
Yeah,
they shouldn't have tried to make Snap and just banked on Smart Glass being that for the system.
Oh, I see what you mean now. Right? Yeah. So just if anyone was going to multitask, they'd just use their phones, which, as it turns out, is exactly what people were doing before the Xbone came out.
Yeah, people do that was like kind of unnecessary.
Yeah. You're probably right.
Well, we'll see what they do without Snap.
Yeah.
Right. Other news. Various announcements of games with no detail, including
including some that might not actually be announcements of games. It might just be a person saying a thing for some reason.
Yeah, so an example of a person saying a thing, I suppose, is this Avengers thing, I guess, which is Marvel teaming up with, well, it says Square Enix, but it really means Eidos, i.e. Crystal Dynamics, the developer of the recent Tomb Raider games. They're going to be doing some Marvel MCU-based games, starting with the Avengers, apparently, but there's no real detail apart from the Avengers logo and the Square Enix logo.
I know we went through some of this before we went on air, but like my mind is suddenly kicking off. I'm sure Crystal Dynamics was said to have been working on something else other than Tomb Raider as well.
Well, maybe they're just expanding, you know, because I think those games did pretty well.
Oh, they've done very well at Tomb Raider.
Yeah. So, I mean, my brother worked at Square Enix in London for a while, and it sounded like a kind of bit of a clusterfuck, but from his perspective. But they seem to be doing okay in terms of the actual developers. So, we'll see. I don't know how well Final Fantasy did in terms of sales, by the way.
No, I don't know, really. I haven't heard a lot about how 15's done.
Yeah. But
I think that game's gone down well, but just in general, I think 15's gone down better than I think most Final Fantasy observers expected. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, we'll see what comes out. I mean, I'm not too excited about games in that universe, particularly superhero. I mean, all anyone wants is that awesome. Oh no, who's making the Spider-Man game? Because we are getting that, aren't we? But who is it that's making it?
I forgot.
Somebody good, wasn't it? I'm going to have to look that up.
No, it's not Ninja Theory, because Ninja Theory is still working on Hellblade. Don't know. Can't remember. It was a notable studio, though. You're right. Insomnia? Was it Insomnia?
Yeah, I think it was.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think Insomniac. Yeah, and that looked decent. So at least we're getting a Spider-Man. That's nothing to do with this announcement, but at least in the Marvel universe, that's really the only thing I would care about. In terms of computer game. Do you think of a good... What would you choose if you had to pick one of those? I mean, Avengers is obviously going to be terrible because... maybe not, but... Just a whole bunch of mismatched superheroes with different powers.
The problem is...
the classic problem of, you've got so many mechanics that you have to build that you're not going to spend long enough making them good.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
with Spider-Man, you can...
Unless it's like a brawler or something, then you can probably get away with it.
Yeah, wasn't there? Because people used to... Was it not the Ultimate Alliance games, but wasn't there something... The Marvel brawlers of, the original Xbox age or something, were actually quite liked, I think. They generally well received, and they were just basically brawlers with lots of characters from... It might have been an X-Men game rather than a Marvel game. Actually, thinking about it,
but as well. But there's the what's it called? The actual game that is that's like an MMO that's on PC.
City of Heroes.
No.
Oh yeah.
The actual Marvel one.
It's called Marvel something 2017. Isn't it?
It's just Marvel Superheroes or something like that. Yeah.
And that is basically just a brawler with lots of characters with different abilities. Like a Diablo or something.
Yeah, that's exactly where my mind was going. Is they could pull off a good Diablo style game,
but then now we've just said that game exists. It's so there's no reason to make that again because that game exists.
Maybe, but maybe you're right. I didn't realize Marvel Superheroes was more Diablo-y than straight up MMO-y, I guess.
I think it is. It seems like it from what I've seen. And, they've continued to update it is the thing. So it's not doing badly for them, presumably.
Well, yeah. If they're giving it yearly name tags.
Well, I think the yearly name tag might have been to, refresh the reviews.
Oh, yeah, no, that was the whole thing last year, wasn't it? When they first did 2016 edition. Yeah, because it reset all the Steam reviews. Which is kind of unnecessary now that you have recent Steam reviews and all that stuff. I guess, yeah. Once Steam changed that system.
So that's that. Speaking of Steam, Ni no Kuni 2 will be on Steam, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice
that's nice.
Branching out. I'd quite like them to have ported the first game, in fairness.
Well, maybe they will.
The first game seems more appealing to me than the second. Just in terms of the second one's setup and story and
kind of tone,
the character you play as. I think the first one is way more appealing to me. It's like the little Welsh dudes.
Yeah, the little Welsh nose dude.
Yeah. So my mind's still rolling on the Crystal Dynamics stuff. It's like I wonder if they could do like you could like. What if they did like a sort of platformer style action game? You know, sort of like if you took Assassin,
like the old 4 games, though. It's a different thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like sort of if you, I'm sort of thinking maybe a halfway house between like a you know, a God of War DMC character action game and like like maybe a Lego game. You know, somewhere in the middle, something that sort of blends a bit of platforming and a bit of moving around with like proper combat mechanics. But you only really have like specific missions for specific characters. Maybe you don't do the full Lego thing of letting you bring everyone in, and it's like, you know, maybe that could work. I mean, that's maybe you avoid the mess of having so many characters. Then
you still have to make them. If they've got individual specified levels for each character, then you're still going to have to make the abilities.
You're still going to have to mechanically make it, yeah, but you don't necessarily have to worry about how they combine, I guess.
I don't think you were going to worry about that at all, really, anyway.
Maybe.
At worst, it was going to be like one level where all the other ones were computer controlled and you were just one of them.
Yeah. I'm just thinking what Crystal Dynamics are known to be good at, right? They're good at Tomb Raider. And it's like, you need to probably make a game to their strengths.
It's going to be Avengers Go.
That's not Crystal.
They're still using their brands, though.
They probably will make that game anyway, but yeah.
That would make sense.
Avengers Go! Marvel Go! Hitman Go!
You can't have a tactical Avengers thing. That doesn't make any sense. Most of them are designed to just kill shit.
Oh, so can you just... But yeah, couldn't you make like a... I don't know, take a Fire Emblem style game out of Marvel characters.
You could make a tactical game out of basically any universe if you tried out.
Yeah.
No one wants to do that because they're not popular games.
An X-Men Fire Emblem style game would be pretty sweet.
Yes.
I'm sure there was one on the PC like years ago that was a turn-based thing, even before City of Heroes. I can't remember the name, but like in the late 90s. But I can't remember the name. But it wasn't like licensed. Like you created your own superheroes and, you know, configured their powers.
That was the term.
I think that's the one I'm thinking of, maybe.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't.
That was just another brawler.
Yeah, it was sort of top. Well, it wasn't. It was sort of top down, almost mouse shooter, all this sort of thing, wasn't it? And you almost controlled it RTS style.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Or maybe it was real time though. Yeah.
Yeah, Freedom Force.
That's the one I was thinking of, Freedom Force. Yeah.
I remember there was such a hype around Freedom Force before it came out, and then it came out and everyone was like, that's all right.
It's fine.
As like most games ever.
Yeah. It's a sort of there was a brief moment of it being a thing, and then it wasn't a thing. What else we got?
So, Dirt 4 announced. There you go.
Dirt.
Whatever that actually means.
You sent me one. Dirt. So what it
like?
So I mean, obviously the graphics are going to be good. Haven't shown much in terms of it, but what
There's
it apparently
going to be a guy
means,
asking you to stream your stuff on YouTube.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. Well, there's not much detail, but I'm just kind of looking through what that some guy who's obsessed with Dirt has figured out. I mean, the main point here that he's saying, I'm not fully. He says it's confirmed, but I don't know. I'd need to check the sources. But he's saying that there's 2 driving models, so you can actually switch to
so whether they're pulling in the Dirt Rally model.
So there's a Dirt Rally driving model and a casual model. Yeah.
Interesting.
So you rather than trying to please everyone, you can actually switch.
Wait. Rather than trying to please everyone, we're going to try and please everyone.
Yeah, but
by including both modes.
That is an odd decision. I mean, I'm not sure I've seen something like that.
Well, it depends on
Revolt. I don't know. We turned down the physics simulation level.
Yeah. It depends on what the levels are like, because it's no good having a rally simulation style physics engine if the levels are designed for arcade driving.
No,
doesn't actually work.
It kind of looks like you can infer that there's going to be like a proper rally career or whatever, and it won't be like, you know, every other stage you have to switch to buggies or land rush but they are.
Then why call it Dirt then?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, it's just the way you set it up, isn't it? That stuff is still there. It's just you do it in a different way, right?
What's the thing? The mainline Dirt games aren't rally games, really, are they?
No,
they have a bit of rally.
Well, this is multidisciplinary. I think it is a mainline. Yeah, I think it's got that stuff back. I don't know about Gymkhana though.
But are they splitting the careers into different parts? Is that what you're saying? So it's like, I fancy just doing the land rush career, and then I'm going to do the
potentially. I think it will be less Dude Bro or whatever, or less.
Hey man, that was a real sweet session.
But who knows?
I mean, the
trailer doesn't have any of that shit or whatever. The announcement trailer, it just has it's focusing on a new, recent rally car, and they've got the license, I think, for the World Rally Championship or whatever.
Oh, have they?
I think
that's interesting.
That seems weird because they keep making their own games.
Yeah, well, no, or do they? Or do they have that? Well, there is a WRC series, but there's that crappy team that always make them, right?
Well, yeah, but that's the official World Rally license.
Yeah, but it depends whether, to say, WRC makes their own games. They probably don't. It's like the other team just has this license.
No one makes their own games. They have a person who makes them for them, but it's still licensed. Dirt Rally had the FIA something or other, didn't they?
They had some license.
Because it was to do with the Rallycross.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I'm actually reading the announcement now, so I'm actually starting to get... So it's definitely got the buggy and the truck racing. This tells you much more than the video does, because the video doesn't tell you anything, but let's see. It's got some kind of level designer, track editor called Your Stage.
Ooh, that could be fun.
Right. Oh no! It looks like it's more of a generator where you set some parameters and press a button and it makes it, rather than.
Oh, that's less fun.
Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure.
That doesn't sound like that would even work.
Yeah, who knows? So they're saying combine the realism of Dirt Rally with the fun of Dirt 2 and 3. There you go.
That sounds all right.
Yeah. And then official FIA World Rallycross Championship.
Yeah. As long as
they've still got the Rallycross, but do they have the actual WRC?
Maybe I've got that wrong then. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that sounds vaguely promising given that we know nothing.
Sounds like it'd be okay. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I'd think I'd be up for that. Although, in fairness, I've got to play a lot more Dirt Rally before I'm really up for it.
That's not going to happen, though, is it?
I mean, it should, but it doesn't.
Okay, so that's Dirt 4. And speaking of 4s, someone high up at EA tweeted just #Skate4.
Just to join in, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm feeling a bit left out.
Literally any kind of information of an announcement at all.
Maybe. So there's nothing there. But that would be cool if they make that, especially if they put it out on Steam as well.
Well, I think they after the Skate 3 resurgence and the Skate 4 #malarkey, I'm sure they're aware that they should be making a Skate 4.
Yeah.
But then, they could just fuck it up really easily.
They could
like Tony Hawk's.
They just need to go back to
exactly.
the basics there. I mean, Skate, they nailed the first Skate game. It wasn't perfect, but the gameplay was good enough that, I mean, I played the whole game, but I got quite a lot of enjoyment just out of the demo, just because all it gave you was a skate park, and the core controls were so good, and there wasn't any limitation that you could just dick around in a skate park, which is the reality for most people who skate, I think.
Yeah.
Is that they dick around in a skate park and have fun.
The weird thing about that a game that manages to nail that, right, is that it's both good and bad for the game, because it's like its mechanics are so good that you only really need the demo to have a good time.
That's true.
Then what do you do with the rest of the game?
I don't think they fully succeeded in the first game of making the rest of everything great, but because they
went big on open world even in the first one, didn't they?
They did. It was open world, but it was pretty basic looking. And some of the challenges were not were pretty frustrating and weren't suitably, and had not enough care and attention had been put into calibrating the kind of difficulty curve as you went through the challenges, basically.
Right.
But that's the sort of thing that you can just improve just by working harder and polishing more. Yeah, the sort of Nintendo approach of, make it fun all the way through by rigorously playtesting the shit out of it.
It's interesting though that given it's been so much time, or enough time, I guess, since Skate 3.
Yeah, enough.
Like, would it even be the same guys? Or would it be a whole new team? Presumably they could. It being in house, they could just pull on everything that's been done before. But still, it's like sometimes you want the guys who know what went right and what went wrong, right?
Maybe. I don't know if I trust that they were the same people anyway at this point. So
no, probably not.
But yeah, as long as they get the spirit of that first game and how it was different from Tony Hawk, I think it could be fun.
Maybe they've picked up some Neversoft guys anyway.
Yeah, maybe. So yes, that's that. And that's it for news, apart from the news that a bunch of old Sega music is now on Spotify.
Woo!
So
I'm definitely go check out, because I was searching actually on Spotify for Jet Set Radio just to see what was there. And it's like, no,
Sega
it's like...
put it out as an album.
Yeah.
The artist is Sega, capital letters, of course.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out.
And a bunch of Sonic music and stuff.
Have a Sega day.
Yeah, have a Sega day. And that's it for news.
Well, here's two more, not news announcements.
What?
The things I've been seeing about when, shit in my Steamless updates or doesn't update. And then sometimes when things update, it causes me to think, oh yeah, that other thing hasn't updated. So I went and looked at, the main blog page for Stardew Valley, because I was like, when the fuck is this multiplayer thing actually going to happen?
Right.
And it's still undefined, but basically the two other things he was talking about, which I think is another console version for some other console that hasn't come out yet. I didn't read it that deeply, but it's the other things he was talking about. The furthest away date on those is February, and the multiplayer was sometime. Mm-hmm. Although technically he's not working on that. That's the multiplayer coding is being done by Chucklefish and some other sub studios.
Chucklefish?
Starbound.
Oh.
They might be using some of their code or whatever.
Interesting.
But yeah, the multiplayer thing still doesn't have a date, so sometime after February, I'm guessing. If the other things he's talking about, if they do have enough specific information to say February, that seems to suggest the multiplayer thing isn't even in a state where they can say it's within 2 months.
And it might just surprise you.
Well, maybe. But I keep wanting to play Stardew again. It's but I can't go back to my previous farm, and I don't want to start a new one on one of the new types of farm, because then I'd be starting a new one and wasting the enthusiasm for when we play it in multiplayer. It's god damn it.
Let's play something.
Yeah, I have been. That's why I keep looking at my things that are updating on Steam. And then the other piece of news of updates that aren't happening fucking soon enough, they finally announced that Season 4 of Rocket League is happening in April!
Oh wow, so it's still 3 months away. Jeez.
Although they did suggest that that it's maybe going to be attached to a fairly significant update. I mean, they've done their mini DLC updates in the past, so if it's going to be, I could imagine it could just be as big as those were, one map and a couple of cars or whatever.
Yeah.
And they also showed a teaser image of they're fucking with the ranks again. They're basically introducing more tiers. So there's now diamond after gold. Whatever.
So we'll probably get the gold real easy this time.
Well, yeah, we probably won't even be in gold. Even. We'll probably be starting in diamond.
Oh, yeah. And then blue, whatever blue is, will be above that.
Yeah.
Still.
But you are going to get fancy wheels. Going to get your blue tier wheels.
Yeah.
For Season 3. There was a brief period of time where I was sort of almost thinking about purple wheels, but I'm not going to make it to purple. I've been sitting around in mid-blue, but it very precisely oscillates between the top of the lowest blue tier and the middle of the middle blue tier, and that's as high as it goes. And then it precisely oscillates back down again. And almost every session I end up exactly back where I started.
Good time.
So I'm not going to get purple. Disappointing.
Oh well. Blue's better.
Yeah, clearly.
Just remembered another Codemasters announcement that I forgot about. They're making new micro machines.
Wait,
like Micro Machines.
Did we talk about that like about a month ago, like as a sort of rumor?
Yeah, I think we might have.
Yeah, well, okay, so that's real then.
That's real. There's an announcement trailer. It's called Micro Machines: The World Series, and it comes out in April.
Okay, pretty soon.
So,
yeah. How do we feel about its chances?
I don't know. It's hard.
Is it properly targeting consoles? Is it a proper Micro Machines game, or is it
Xbox One, PC, and PS4?
All right, okay. Full price or
don't know.
Probably got to be a budget title, right? Or
you think so?
Well, yeah, it depends how. Like if it was Micro Machines 4 grade, it'd be kind of shitty, and therefore need to be kind of cheap.
Yeah, they'd have to hyper stylize it now, right?
I hope so.
Well, it looks fairly sort of somewhat photo realistic.
Oh, really?
In the trailer, but I don't know if that's gameplay. It's quite hard to tell.
Or if it's a CG mock-up thing.
I think it might be, yeah. Interesting.
That would be mildly worrying if they have gone. I don't know. I think they should have like doubled down on that sort of cartoony. Well, not totally cartoony, but that sort of V3 look. You know,
might have been a game that they could have got away with doing cell shading on.
Yeah, maybe. You know.
Yeah, they're not doing that. Okay, well, we'll see about that. And that is it for news.
Yes.
So it's time for what you've been playing.
We made some news out of that
somehow.
Yeah.
Right, who's going first? Zeg, what have you been playing?
Well, I haven't been playing all that much of interest, I guess. Sort of. It was Rocket League, obviously. We already partly talked about that. That way fluctuating up and down this. I did have a couple of... I'm getting to the point in Rocket League, like in TF2, where I'm just amused by people who are pissed off by me by doing what I'm doing. I still get people who are pissed about me defending, sometimes on the enemy team, and that's the one that's more entertaining, where it's like, I'm actually obstructing them well enough that it's annoying them, and then they try and come and demolish me or whatever.
Oh, of course,
it's like, no, there was one game where that happened where, like, it went into overtime and I was still there, and then they started coming to demolish me, so I just drove up the other end and scored. And then they all quit. It's just like, yep, that's pretty much what's going to happen. And I did have one night where there was like a pair of console players, and they were trying to be fancy, like they were trying to pass, air pass and do all this fancy freestyling and that kind of stuff or whatever. And they weren't good enough to do it.
But they were trying.
Yeah, they were trying. Sometimes it almost worked in some ways, but then I was playing defensively and stopping it basically. So after like a couple of games, they quit. But then coincidentally, we ended up back in the same server together. And this time, for some reason, they decided not to quit. And you could just they weren't even saying anything because they were PlayStation people for a start, I guess, so they couldn't type. But they weren't even using the quick chat or anything. But you could just kind of see that they were just gradually getting more pissed, or at least one of them was. And he'd start trying to demolish me and stuff. And then, but for some reason, they didn't quit the server again. They just stayed there for 20 games. And what was even funnier is all the games where I think there was only one game when I was on their team, and I had a really bad game that game, so I just let everything in, and it sort of looked like I was trolling them, but it was just coincidental. Because every other game where I wasn't on their team, I was just stopping everything that they were trying to do.
That's quite funny.
And then, at the end, when they finally decided to quit, one of them quit, but the other guy stayed in the server, so his friend could rejoin the same server, but not on his team, but on my team, so he could troll me from my own team.
Oh wow!
Luckily, he only stuck around for one game there, and we still nearly won. So yeah, I'm getting to that point, like in Team Fortress, where people accuse me of hacking, where it's just I don't know what you want. I'm just playing the game. I'm not even that good. I mean, come on.
But you don't do, because in Tier 2 you would use a relatively obscure loadout, and then people would accuse you of hacking for that, right? Huntsman or whatever, right?
No, I mean, the thing that I usually got accused of hacking for in Team Fortress was because I was good at finding spies. And that's just because people aren't as good as playing spy as they think they are.
Yeah, because it's ridiculously hard to play good spy.
Yeah. They'd be like, oh, he's using hacks because he can see me when I'm invisible. It's like, no, I just know where you're going because I saw where you were going from a flash, and then I know that you're probably going to a health kit or an ammo pack, and I'm a scout, so I can just run up there and bump you because I'm fast. I can cover the likely path where you're going to be. Or if I hear a dead ringer, I know that you're back there, so I'll just turn around and go back because I'm a scout, because I'm fast. It's not complicated. Or I'm a pyro and I'm just spy checking because that's what pyros are meant to fucking do.
Yeah. Just casually flame everything.
Yeah. I don't think you get accused of hacking when you're playing Huntsman. You get accused of luck when you're playing Huntsman.
Yeah.
You just assume that you're just spamming arrows and then you get headshots.
There's an element of that when you're huntsmaning, surely.
To some extent, yes.
Yeah.
But not always. You're predicting people's movements sufficiently and you're actually intercepting them. You're predicting when they're about to come round a corner and having an arrow already be there.
I liked Huntsman back in the day.
Yeah.
I think it was fun. I wasn't nearly as good as you are, but still.
Well, I think it always had some hitboxing problems.
Yeah,
and still does.
T-Focus has hitboxing problems.
Yeah, like the range at which it can snap to your face seems ludicrous sometimes, and from both sides. In fairness, I've had that happen when I've been huntsmaning and gone, that didn't look like that hit anywhere near that guy.
It's probably lag compensation.
Yeah, almost certainly. Yeah.
It's mainly when like people are jumping or whatever, and then you'll suddenly get a headshot and pin them to a wall, and like the ragdoll will freak out because they were in motion so much. It's like that looked real weird.
I gotta say, like playing as like the bow snipe in Overwatch isn't nearly as entertaining as playing Huntsman Sniper in TF.
He's not actually as powerful. I mean, he is pretty powerful, relatively. Still headshots, but not as much.
Yeah, like it's not guaranteed an instant kill with a headshot, even with a powered up bow. It's depending on who you're hitting. You know, it's. I suppose that's true of TF2, but the bow had quite a damage uplift, didn't it?
Pretty much everything was instant kill apart from heavies and overhealed heavies.
Yeah, I just find it very difficult to play in Overwatch.
It's
because my aim's kind of crappy these days, in fairness.
The arrows are like kind of faster as well, aren't they? It's kind of. I guess it's weirdly the TF2 one feels more natural. It feels like an actual bow, whereas the one in Overwatch feels more like just a fancy gun.
I guess. Yeah. It's got a bit of an arc to it, and you still have to power it up if you want full damage and full distance. But there's no ammo limitation either, and it's. You've got infinite.
Spam it out as fast as you can.
That's why he was known as Spamzo when the game first came out. So.
That's just like the Hunt Spam.
Yeah. Hunt Spam, yeah.
So that was Rocket League, I guess. Still continuing to play it, still continuing to annoy people. Still occasionally saving replays and then I've made it a habit now of every time I actually remember to save a replay of something interesting that happens, I go in there and then label it. I rename the replay to something, which is normally where it's like, what even happened? I'm gonna have to. So I've just got replays that just have weird names. So I've just got one that's like, I'll take that. There's a replay I've got that's called "Touch It With Your Butt."
All right,
nice. Do you think you'll get to TF2 rivaling kind of our count with Rocket League? You must be.
Potentially.
Yeah.
It's like not quite 50% yet.
Yeah. But that must be a lot faster than TF2. Because I don't know.
I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not.
Because we're nearly 2 years into Rocket League now.
Well, not nearly.
Or
heading into 2 years, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I still haven't reached maximum rank in Rocket League. Haven't reached Rocketeer, which was annoying because I thought I was going to, but apparently the gap between Legend and Rocketeer is not 10 levels like it is in all the other ones.
Or is it 20?
I don't know how many it is.
Oh, right.
I got to 70 and I was like, oh, I'm coming up to 70, it's going to be Rocketeer. And then it just went past 70. I was like, oh, okay then. Apparently not.
I'll just keep going.
So I don't know how many levels it is. Maybe 80. I'm only at 72 though, because it's taken a really long time to level up on that list now. Not that Rocketeer matters at all, but
No.
you see people with it all the time. It's like there was that time when Rocket League first came out where everyone was hacking it. And it's like how many of these people are holdovers and how many people have actually played that much. Because probably people have played it a lot more than I have.
I don't know. I hit a ceiling with Rocket League, I think, in terms of playing well. And when I notice that I'm hitting that sort of I'm not really improving level, that turns me off a game completely. Or at least for a large period of time. It's like, yeah, I can get better. Surely, of course, I can get better because that's anything. But I don't know. You hit a point where you don't feel like you're getting better for large periods of time, and it's just like, yeah, this isn't as fun as it once was.
I don't really remember what happened when it was when I had that mysterious
period.
The
last few times we played, we've just been garbage, though. It's just
sometimes. I don't remember what happened when I had that period when I transitioned from playing goalkeeper to actually playing more wide ranging. That was the transition that I had, where it was just I'd stick in goal the entire time, and then it was now I'm getting better at hitting bouncing balls and stuff with small aerials, and then that just progressed from there.
I still have the problem of just whenever I try an aerial, it's always too late. I cannot get over that. It's I'm always launching way later than everyone else. Before anyone the balls start heading in that direction, someone's already there, and it's how do you do that? Or
I don't know.
Misaiming it, or getting dodgy bounces that have gone completely the unexpected direction.
I think the one thing that I can still say that I'm maybe still improving at now is I'm getting better at blocking stuff, jamming it and having it come out in a positive or neutral direction.
Well, a nice sandwich, basically. Yeah. I still can't figure it out. I get negative most of the time.
It's one of those things where it's there's not really any way that you can get better at that, from practice, I guess, because it's it's such an incredibly random thing. There's an incredibly tiny angular distance between the two angles of the cars at that exact moment where they both hit the car.
Yeah.
It's just you're kind of getting better probability, I guess.
Maybe.
It's maybe I'm subconsciously working out where it's if I roll this way when I'm coming in from this angle, it gives me a slightly better chance that it's going to not go in a bad direction or something.
Yeah.
But it's not something you can consciously think about, really.
That's what about the timings of when the cars actually get there. There's sometimes a significant advantage of not getting there first. And I don't know. There's so many little things that just always hold me back from that game. So being as good as I want to be. I fumble with the controls frequently.
Well, that's a problem with your hands. That's not a problem with the game so much.
Well, not so much just my thumb literally falling off the stick, which does happen. But it's just getting it to roll the right way sometimes. It's why did you do that, you stupid car?
Well, that still might be a problem with the controller.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I did see, once they introduced the ability to set your dead zone, I did see various people who were if you want to play Rocket League well, you should set the dead zone to 0 so you can turn instantly and, always be in full control of your car and not have this weird place in the middle of the stick where you're moving the stick but it's not actually doing anything. But I haven't done that. Mainly because apparently one of my sticks is kind of dodgy now. So I kind of need a dead zone.
Yeah, I was contemplating maybe I need to get another controller or figure out how to get without a dongle. I suppose I could wire a
just get a wired controller. But, get one with a wire attached, a properly wired one. No reason not to.
I got these Xbox controllers. I should try and use them. Just not my day one where the stick's a bit funny already.
I guess.
I'd like an Elite. To be honest.
For no reason.
But they are crazy money.
Yes. Too much. So there's that. What else? I played more Factorio. I'm playing what is maybe, I guess you'd call the third of the major well-known mod pack type things.
Right.
Mod overhauls. This one's sort of basically a kind of simpler version of the first one I played. It's similar. It still has here's a bunch of more different ores and you process them in semi-realistic ways, except not really. In this one, everything just melts into liquid metal, and then you have specific buildings that take the liquid metal and turn it into either bars of metal or products directly. It's cogs or whatever you can make in a molding machine instead of having to make bars and then make them into cogs. and you can mix the liquid metals in another smelter and turn them into various alloys that way.
Can you make liquid wood?
No. Wood doesn't count.
No.
So yeah, it's similar to the first one, just not quite as complicated. One thing it does do, which I think is maybe better, possibly, is that it changes the sort of progression of the higher tech buildings to be direct upgrades. So like practically everything uses the previous version as an ingredient to the upgraded version, which in the base game a lot of stuff doesn't. Even just simple stuff like your starting pistol. In the base game, there's shit all you do with that, you just throw it away. But now in this mod, you use the pistol as the ingredient to the submachine gun. So when you upgrade to the submachine gun, you're automatically using up that pistol that you have lying around.
You're making a machine pistol.
Yes, I guess. But yeah, basically everything is like that. Like gun turrets, when you build the higher level gun turrets that they introduced with the mod, it uses the old gun turrets. When you're making upgraded solar panels, it uses the old solar panels. So it's just much neater.
Does that mean you physically have to sort of have your turrets removed?
Yeah, that is the one slight problem with it. You'd have to go around and I want to upgrade my solar panel field to new higher tech solar panels that make more power. But that does mean I have to rip the entire thing down. But I guess that's what blueprints are for, basically.
I actually kind of like that idea because it's in a weird way that actually sort of, in terms of your turrets and vulnerabilities and stuff like that, there could be an extra strategy introduced, right, about when to actually do the upgrade phase.
Guess, but not really.
But yeah, I mean, I doubt that's in place, but it's something that could exist.
I mean, it also just makes the building of your factory neater in general, because you don't have to. If you're making a high tech thing, you still have to make all the previous lower techs, which means if you've already got a factory that's making the lower tech stuff, you're just extending it essentially.
Right.
You're taking stuff you've already built factory-wise and just adding on a new layer.
Oh, right. So you couldn't just build the new turrets outright. You'd still have to build them with the old turrets.
Yeah, because the old turrets are an ingredient in the new one. You still have to build the old one. So if you've already built an automatic factory to do that, you're just adding on an extension to it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes less sense. You kind of want an upgrade factory, right? And a freshly built factory.
Well, it's fine if you've sort of planned ahead. I mean, that's the classic Factorio problem of how much planning ahead do you want to do? Because again, in this game, I've been in the midst of doing this ridiculous overhaul where I'm moving from my temporary base into just one fucking huge smelter, where I've got an individual smelting line for each of the 12 ores, and then train stations, 12 train stations for bringing in the rough ores, and 12 train stations for taking out the metal plates. And then and then I've got the build of an actual factory that uses all this. So yeah, classic Factorio problems. It's the thing that I always do in Factorio, where I don't consider anything final until at least the middle of blue science, which is two-thirds of the way into the research tree, I guess. And then I'm okay, now I've got the blue science where you research advanced oil processing, so you properly use your oil resources. Now it's time to actually build finalized layouts for all the different things that you want to make. That's why I've now started building the labs as an individual factory on its own. So you only supply it with raw resources, and then the whole lab processes its own individualized thing rather than taking parts from your actual factory and leading them into the labs. Just slightly more convenient when you want to rebuild your entire factory in that mid-game.
Right.
Because the labs can always be there. And that will be doubly nice when the new patch comes out and you can save blueprints between games. Because then I'll just be able to blueprint a lab and have that in every game and just plug it down.
This is the best design I've come up with. I'm just going to chuck it in.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's good in some ways, but it's also you're playing less of the game over time, I suppose, if you've made blueprints for everything. So yeah, Factorio. I also played quite a lot of Enter the Gungeon, and we made another video of it.
Yeah. Well,
a rough video.
Yeah. So this was we had a new idea for this. We
had an idea born of laziness, as always.
Basically, we just sort of wanted to play more Gungeon, and because we've just done the video for Enter the Gungeon, we just thought, well, why don't we just sort of stream us doing this, but not stream it, and just record us playing it and put it up as a
direct recording without
as a rough cut, we'll call it.
Without any edits.
Yeah.
We've made a good video. Let's make a bad one.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's just do we'll have our proper series where we could produce them with the same level of quality that I gun for.
That you come
so
to
much
expect.
quality.
Yeah, and but then if we just want to play a game, and but it's something we probably already. If it's something we've done before, I guess.
Yeah.
And we just want to do some more content, or we don't think it's really noteworthy, we'll just stick it in a rough cut. We'll do it. We'll record it and stick it in a rough cut. Although we got it very wrong this time. Like the volume levels are way out, but still, that means we might do more content when we're feeling lazy.
Yep. As always, laziness. It's the rule. But I play quite a lot more in Dungeon as well. Dungeon. The Dungeon game.
Good dungeon.
And I think I'm finally getting a handle on most of that game's stuff now. Which is to say I've actually succeeded several times.
Ah.
And I've worked out most of the secrets.
The fireplace?
Yeah, I worked out the fireplace.
Ah, okay.
Took quite a while, mainly because I was kind of dumb. But it was I figured in that video we recorded, I was saying the theory of maybe you need a water gun to extinguish the fire.
Yeah.
As it turns out, it's much simpler than that, because in that fireplace room, there's always a water barrel that you can just kick into the fireplace. Providing it hasn't been shot during the fight. So that's why you have different enemies in there to make it varying difficulty in preserving the water barrel.
Right, yeah.
But sometimes you can actually, if you find a water barrel somewhere else, you can kick it all the way down to the fireplace, through the corridors if you align it well enough.
Okay.
If you really want to. But yeah, you extinguish the fire. So I'd work that out, but then for ages I couldn't work out what the fuck you did next, because the grate opens and there's nothing in there. And I was like, what? I feel like there should be something that's happening now, like a secret passage.
Yeah.
But of course, what it actually is there's just a switch in there. You just have to push A while you're standing in the fireplace.
But it doesn't prompt you.
No, because you can't see it, because it's not the switches for the chandeliers and stuff where it's on the outside of the wall.
Yeah, okay. It's just in world rather than...
But it just took me ages to realise that I should just push A to interact. I was like, oh, yeah, obviously. But the thing about that is that's not even the start of that secret, really. Because it's basically you
Spoilers?
I guess, not sort of.
Not sort of.
I guess it's only as much spoilers as talking about the extra levels of Isaac is spoilers.
I guess.
But so you open the fireplace by putting out the fire, you push the switch, it opens the secret passage on that floor. Then in that secret room, there's a door that you can only open with 2 keys. So you have to preserve 2 keys on the first floor of the game.
Jeez, right. That's hard.
You open that, and that leads into a secret level, essentially. Which is just it's weird, because it's actually... I guess it is quite a lot like Isaac, in that if you want to, have as much advantage in your runs, you want to do that level, because it's an extra level. You could clear out the whole of floor 1, including the boss, to get the boss drop. Then you go through that door that leads to the secret level. But then after you complete the secret level, you go into normal level 2. So you've essentially done a whole extra floor's worth of stuff, including 2 more chests and another shop. So you have potentially basically an extra floor's worth of stuff added to your run. Right,
I see. So you should, provided you do it well, you end up more powerful.
Yeah, ideally. Yeah. And the boss... I've only seen one boss in this first secret level, so I don't know if there is other ones, but he's pretty easy. But then that's not even the end of it, because in that first secret level, you get an item that you use in the temple that we saw several times to unlock the second secret level.
Oh, wow, she just chained these together.
Yeah.
Huh. That's nuts.
Although that second one is much harder to do, because the item you get in the first secret level is basically a piece of armor. So if you get hit, you lose it. So you have to get through to the temple in level 2 without getting hit after finishing the first secret.
Yeah, a bit of me is that's cool, but then a bit of me is should they really have changed these things together quite so ridiculously?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it is those secret levels are harder compared to the floors they're based in. Considering you've basically dumped out of level 1 into the first secret level probably with maybe only one gun, because you probably haven't been able to open the chests on the floor, so you've maybe got the boss gun.
Yeah.
If it even drops a gun, because bosses don't always drop guns. And then you have to do this slightly harder level within that for a chance to get even more stuff. And I think if you defeat the boss in the secret levels, you don't get the bonus health like you do with the regular bosses. Without getting hit, I mean.
Right.
So yeah, there's that. And then I actually...
It's a proper hardcore run then to do those.
Kinda. And then I actually succeeded in beating the actual game, killing the past and all that.
Oh.
I successfully built the bullet once I worked out how to get all the bits.
Okay.
It was those... You remember the mysterious big open rooms with like the minecart rail one, and then the other one that's just a cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprise, that's where the bits of the bullet are.
You just need the jetpack, or...
Well, there's various ways you can do it. Like the minecart one, I realised eventually, because it was incredibly obvious again, there's just invisible minecart rails, but like they're loops. So the first one that you can see is a loop. So you have to position the minecart next to one of the other minecarts and dive out of the first minecart into the second minecart, and then you're on an invisible loop there, and then you transfer between the minecarts to get across. And then the other one is like, it's a big open cave with no apparent way to get across. And it's like, well, obviously invisible platforms then. Surprise!
How'd you find where they are?
Well, there's various ways you can do it. You can use like the super soaker gun that makes water all over the floor, for example. It's a very easy way to do it. And that made sense to me immediately when I was thinking about it, because I was like, there's got to be invisible platforms here. And a lot of the times in these runs, I keep seeing this super soaker for sale in the shop for like quite cheap early on. It's like, oh, put two and two together there. Like, that's the reason it's there quite often, because it's meant to be a way for you to get this easily to do the thing. Or you can just use a jetpack or a grappling hook, just fly over the hole. It's the alternate way, much easier. So yeah, there's that. Oh, actually, I guess there was a third way that I thought you could do it. There's a trinket you can get that prevents you from taking damage from falling in holes.
Yeah, right.
Although it does say it has some other kind of penalty to it, but I didn't see what the penalty was. You don't lose health. So it's like, you could theoretically just work out where the invisible platforms were through pure trial and error. Just run out there and hope you don't fall off.
So what does this... Is there more to the game then? Like, given that you've now beaten it properly, and does it have the Isaac, like, it extends now, or does it?
Well, I don't know exactly, because with these two secret chain levels, there was obvious entrance points, like the fireplace mystery at the temple. And then I still haven't done that the mysterious, like, what appears to be optional boss on the third level, but I'm not sure that's going to lead to anything. I think that might just be an optional boss and it's related to, like, the story, and so that might not appear again after you've done it. Maybe, I don't know. So I haven't tried that still. I probably should. It's probably not actually that difficult since it's only level 3. But I haven't seen anything obvious in the other levels. Where it's like, this room looks suspicious. There's obviously a thing here.
Right, yeah.
And then I don't know if there's going to be, like, maybe after I complete all 4 characters, there'll be a new post-last level thing, maybe?
Yes, the thing with these games, you never really know.
No. It's interesting when you get to the end, after you've built the bullet and can actually do the thing properly. Because if you get there without the bullet, which I did the first time, it rolls the credit sequence and it just says the past still haunts you on the end screen,
right,
as it does. It's like, you were killed by nobody, good job, but then it's like the past still haunts you on the other side. And it's like, oh yeah, because you didn't actually have the bullet to kill the past. But then once you have the bullet and you do that, that's actually interesting, because like the 4 different characters have different things.
Oh, right.
And it's
so you get a special ending, basically.
Well, it's not even just like a cutscene, it's like an actual extra level, essentially.
Oh, cool.
Built for each of the 4 characters, like their past, and then like what happens. And then you change the past, obviously, by doing something that you didn't do first time. And then you work out why all these characters are actually at the Gungeon.
Right. Yeah, why they're here. Well, that's interesting. Neat little reason to try it, at least.
Yeah. And then after you successfully win as the character, you get their starting items unlocked for the other to be able to find in the dungeon.
Oh, cool.
So like the military training for the Marine and all that stuff, you can now find as just a passive for anyone.
So if we complete it in co-op, we get the ability to find more revives.
Well, that's the thing, because I'm wondering. I think there might be an ending for the co-op character. So if we can get through and then have you pick up the time gun, then maybe
that'll be something.
Yeah, maybe that'll put you into that sequence.
Yeah, weird.
And now with the supply drop update, which has just coincidentally happened.
Yeah, this weekend.
Weirdly. Just as I started playing, which is kind of annoying in some ways, where it's like, I've only just started getting used to this game, and now there's new shit that's even more fucking me up. But yeah, with that update, there's 2 to 3 new characters, I think.
Oh, nice.
I haven't worked out how to unlock
and it's all just thrown in. It's not like a DLC pack.
This one isn't. They're supposedly, now they're going to be working on a DLC pack. And there is technically DLC you can buy. There's a gun that's DLC, the DLC gun that shoots money, obviously.
Nice.
Okay.
But yeah, the supply drop update in general is free. And it seems to introduce... I haven't worked out how to get the new characters yet. One of them is just a bullet, like the enemies, and he has a cape.
Huh.
And I've seen him around. Like, you see him he randomly spawns in rooms sometimes, and he doesn't try and fight you.
He's just there.
He's just there. And then if you don't kill him, after a while he just teleports away, but you can't, like, talk to him or anything. I haven't worked out what the trigger is to make him go to the breach and become selectable or whatever. And then there's like a computer robot guy who I've never seen anything about yet, so I don't know what his unlock condition is either. So yeah, still more shit to do.
Whoop, whoop.
More guns. Did some.
Always more guns.
I did find possibly I unlocked and then found in the dungeon and discovered what it did. Possibly the most powerful item there is, which naturally is duct tape.
Right.
Because it goes in your active slot, but you basically can pretty much just use it immediately. You take whatever gun you have in your hand, activate the duct tape, you select another gun, activate the duct tape again, and then you just have both those guns in one gun.
Nice.
So you just combine the 2 most powerful guns you have, and you just have a double powerful gun with like combined ammo pool and like I don't know if it affects like the firing speed exactly, because I think it might have done. I don't remember exactly what, because I didn't have any particularly powerful guns at the time when I first tried this. But I combined like a rapid fire like machine pistol thing with like this trident that fires like energy bolts. And the trident has like a really short clip, so what actually happens with like if you hold down the trigger, you're firing the trident first essentially with some of the bullets, and then once the trident clips out, it's just bullets from the other gun until that clips out and then you reload. But it seems like the trident fires extra fast now. So it's actually better to like fire off all the trident bullets and then reload and then do it again, like quick, not using the whole clip of the other gun.
Weird.
I'm not sure whether that was actually the case though, because I only had the trident one other time and I think it fired pretty quickly. I'm not sure if it was that quick though.
Still,
it's ridiculously powerful. Just imagine some of the combos you come up. Just imagine combining like the rail gun that has a long charge time with like a machine gun that dumps a clip while you're charging. That would be pretty fun, pretty cool. Or just combine like any of the beam weapons, so you're firing 2 beams.
And cross the streams.
Yeah, well, I don't think you can get 2 proton packs, but that would be funny. You duct tape 2 proton packs together and just fuck everything up.
What a ridiculous mechanic. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Enter the Gungeon.
Yep, it's pretty cool.
Alright.
The new enemies kind of suck with the supply drop update. I've got used to some of them. One of the new bosses is a pain. I'm getting better at it. There's still a boss that was in the game originally that I completely suck at. Every time I get there, I've only killed it once, and I've fought it like 6 or 7 times. And every time I get there, I'm just like, fuck. This run's basically over. I'm starting to get better. It just has so much health is the main problem. Like, the dodging I'm getting better at, but it takes so fucking long to kill it. And it's one of those things where, like, when it only has a little bit of health left, it goes into a rage mode and its attacks changes. And
right, yeah.
You have to deal with that then.
Classic.
So, yeah. One day I might get better at that boss. Or, You just hope not to get it, or you just hope to have some kind of overpowered gun that you can just kill it real fast. Or maybe some bees. So you don't even have to aim. It's always good. Anything with homing.
Some of the bees. Invertebrate.
Yep. Well, that doesn't... You still have to aim that to some extent.
To a little bit, yeah. Cool. That it?
I guess so.
Right. Rob, new liquid from Robco.
New liquid from Robco?
Yeah.
What have I produced?
It's wood, but in liquid form.
Yeah, apparently.
Liquid wood.
Not possible in Factorio, but with Robco.
Well, it probably would be possible in Factorio if you just made the mod to do it. You probably could just do whatever the fuck you wanted. It doesn't matter.
I don't know why you were disappointed that you couldn't make liquid wood. What would that be useful for?
Like liquid wood is technically like,
wood glue.
Pulp.
Yeah,
paper.
I suppose. Pulp. Yeah.
That would be what it would actually be.
Yeah.
It would be literally liquid wood. You can't melt it down, and that's not how wood works.
Super exciting.
No, you could just make molten wood, then you can just sort of put it in a nice mold, and then take it away, and then all of a sudden you've got a nice wooden thing in the shape that you want without any delicate carving required.
That's also wood pulp, and it's not as good as it sounds.
No, it's MDF, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Plastic wood. What have you been playing, Rob?
And you get a nice grain out of it as well, somehow, when it comes out of the mold.
Yeah, beautiful grain. It's Robco guaranteed.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Which means there's no guarantee at all.
Woodfucker.
Yeah. Well, I think we probably had that.
Probably.
I'm losing track of the Robco
Fucking
brand.
brands.
I need a new brand, basically. I've been playing quite a lot of Overwatch because they've been doing their Chinese New Year thing. The sort of year of the Rooster special.
They're doing essentially what Guild Wars did, where they're getting to the point where it's almost always a holiday all the time.
Pretty much, yeah.
What's going to be happening in April for April Fools in Overwatch?
Well, is it going to be a Valentine's Day thing?
Well,
or is
probably.
it, yeah. Whatever. But it means, of course, there's new items to get. But this is a weirder one, right? Because most of the time, when they've done an event, it's something they could have done annually. Well, except maybe the summer games. I guess they could just do that. But it's like Year of the Rooster. It's like, oh no, wait, next year, does that mean they'd have to come up with something else, and then would their items not be there? The items will be back.
Well, it depends how specific. If there's any themed to the specific Chinese year, that's where you run the problem.
That's what I mean. I don't think
Guild Wars is just generic Chinese New Year.
Mm.
You just get the red envelopes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think that any of the items are Rooster themed. Is the thing. They're just Chinesey.
Yeah, so easy enough to bring them back.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a few items that might be worth getting hold of. My loot box rate has been poor though. I'm nothing but blues, low rarity stuff so far, and it's oh come on. Well, at least one good thing out of this would be nice. But my loot box count resets next week, so I'll be back on that. Get another three. But the other thing this update adds is they've with most of these events, there's a special mode that's running at the moment. They've basically added capture the flag, which they call capture the rooster because the flag has a rooster on it.
Naturally,
the lamest
the briefcase or whatever.
It kind of it's actually a flag, but
okay.
But it's actually pretty good. It's I would normally capture the flag is one of the weaker elements of a game, right? You prefer to play CP or King of the Hill style games or the payload or something like that. I don't know. Capture the flag you don't normally come back to, but here because of the speed and size of the arenas.
I remember it used to work in Quake 3 Team Arena. That was
sure that was kind of, but yeah, it actually in many ways it kind of is a little bit reminiscent of that because what they've done is they've taken Lijiang Tower, which is one of the small King of the Hill style game modes. So there are and those levels tend to have 3 different arenas on them, and they've taken those small arenas and made those into the capture the flag levels, making some adjustments here and there to the level layout and things like that. And it's because they're so small and because it is quite fast paced, it actually kind of works. It's sort of a little bit more enjoyable than like sometimes you have the, when you have to take the briefcase in TF. It's a really blooming long way, but yeah,
not that long.
No, but it's way shorter.
The thing in Team Fortress is like a lot of the time with the briefcase capturing the flag, it's only a problem for like the first 20 feet, and then you're basically home free.
Yeah, kind of.
You have the engineer turrets and the flag room where everyone is, but if you can get past that, you're just running to your room.
And yeah, don't get me wrong. There's a bit of that here as well. But so many characters have some sort of ability to move faster and catch up. That actually it does mean that sometimes like the clutch save is plausible. Like Winston will drop in from above and be like, "Ha ha." And stop you right at the edge of the point, but it's they have a couple of tricks to try and mitigate this as well. Like you don't just pick up the flag instantly; you have to have cleared the area of people and not get damaged whilst attempting to grab the flag. And there's a little bar that goes up, so it takes a little bit of time to actually grab the flag, and it's which actually makes it should make offense difficult, but as long as you kill everyone, then you're okay. Yeah. It's good fun. I think it's a good addition. I hope it stays. I hope they do it to the other King of the Hill maps and make those into capital flags as well. It's a nice addition. I bet they won't. I bet they'll leave it till another year goes by, and next year we'll add Greece for some reason. But then it makes sense that they did it on this level because it's the Chinese level.
Yeah. So that's the role.
So I'm hoping there are other events that mean they add capture the flag to those levels. It's a good one. And I guess the only other real thing I want to talk about is Assassin's Creed 4.
Okay.
Pirates.
Because I started to play that and then it didn't run very well, and I was like,
okay. So it makes a pretty bad first impression.
Yeah.
I have to say, it's not a great port.
No.
It's so I had to, even on my machine, it had my brand new rig with the top spec card and stuff like that had performance problems,
and I was like, what the fuck, man, come on.
So I have to tone it down. You can't have PhysX turned on.
No,
that seems to be a real problem. And I think some of the ambient occlusion options you have to turn down as well. And I think I managed to keep the anti-aliasing pretty high, and that was okay. But yeah, you had to turn down some stuff just to stop micro stutter. And even then, there are certain effects that just bring it to its knees. It's like if it's raining and lightning and there's fog in the air, it's like, nope, and you're in a sort of foliage-focused area. It's like, nope, it just can't deal with it. It's going to drop. In fairness, I never get a drop lower than 30. The game seems to only flip-flop between 60 and 30. There's something in the engine that's like, oh, if you're not running at 60, I'm going to run at 30 for a while.
Have you got desync on, or because that's what that sort of does, isn't it?
Well, no, we discussed that before. That's not quite how it works. But anyway, you end up with micro stutter if you're just below 60 normally. Right. But but it doesn't do that. It goes straight to 30, and so it's not a brilliant port. Also, I think the intro to the game is kind of poorly conceived. It's like, here, have a quick few minutes of ship battle, and then have 6 hours where you've got nothing to do with a ship. This whole game is supposed to be about the ships and the pirating and stuff like that. And it opens feeling like Assassin's Creed, but with all of its problems front and center. The first proper mission you do in Havana is a tail mission with an eavesdrop. And it's just all of the crap of Assassin's Creed is front-loaded.
It's like, I remember this shit.
Yeah.
I have that suspicion that might actually be why I didn't get into Witcher 2 when I tried it.
Well, Witcher 2, I had the same. No, Witcher 2 it was infamous for having a front-loaded tutorial that was total bullshit.
Oh, trial by fire.
Well, and it was also it was like you were in this castle and you were in these enclosed paths and rooms, and I feel like maybe the rest of the game isn't quite as tightly enclosed as that. Maybe.
No, I think I heard that. Yeah, that's actually quite the intro to that game is just so weirdly a spike compared to most of the rest of the experience.
I had the same problem. I think Witcher 3 probably solves that quite nicely if you have a nice PC.
Well, that game barely seems to have any enclosed space. All open,
all fields, all the time.
Like a bit of fields in my medieval games.
But what about caves? What about Skyrim? All caves, all the time.
all what the stupid zombies, Dragas, yeah, all the time.
Except for when it's robots.
That was better, at least.
I don't know, those robots kind of sucked.
Yeah, they did suck.
They weren't really fun to fight.
They were robots in Skyrim?
They were like robots. The Dwemer, constructions.
Dwemer?
Yeah, they were the dwarves.
So that sounds like an unholy concoction of Dwayne Dibley and Rimmer.
Something along those lines.
I saw an episode of the most recent Red Dwarf series that Dave made. It's actually okay. It's you know what? It had some of the old spark to it, like the old spark, proper like when they're on Red Dwarf.
Where it's like as long as you get out of prison. That was what sapped all the fun out of it.
Yeah.
But it's you're meant to be on a ship, and you're meant to be like the only people on the ship, and then comedy space things are meant to happen.
Yeah,
you're not going to have situational comedy.
The fact that they changed all of that and made it like fairly normal, for lack of a better word, just kind of murdered that season. Although I did want some seed, Pete.
Yeah, there won't be occasional funny things.
Want some seed, Pete? So Assassin's Creed. So I think it's not. Yeah, it was a real struggle just to keep going for a while there at the start, just to be like, this really is firing pretty bad, and to be honest, it did take a really long time to get to anything worthwhile, which is the pirating. Once you get into the bit where the
everybody
stuff,
says, and they start singing sea shanties and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, sailing is kind of nice. It borrows everything that Assassin's Creed 3 did and doesn't really do a lot new there. But that's kind of okay. That stuff feels fine.
Mm-hmm.
The way it treats the actual sea and the open world of the sea is quite nice. It's quite good looking. It's quite given its age, it's quite good looking.
Mm.
And I think that stuff plays quite well generally.
It seemed like from the little that I saw that it was like. They maybe could have thought of a slightly more smooth way to make it so that you have to keep getting off your ship onto these tiny sandbags to pick up small chests of stuff.
that is quite irritating because there's no good because you can't bring the ship totally next to like little islands because it's not deep enough water. So you have to jump off, swim over to the island, get this little chest,
and there's nothing else there. It's just like this tiny sandbag with like a singular palm tree and a chest, and that's it.
This game is rotten for collectible-itis, I guess. It's like because there's so much stuff in the area, and the game's actively encouraging you to 100% each area.
Yeah.
But there's no. It doesn't really. There's no benefit to it. Like the game doesn't really. If there is one, it's really not clear what that is. It's like I'm getting to the point where it's like I've sort of been 100%ing every area because there's a thing. Okay, there's a big emphasis switch here because you're at sea and because you're sailing about and stuff. No area is as big as it has been in previous Assassin's Creed games. Like the city areas, like Havana and stuff, they're nowhere near as large. That's what you would expect from like Assassin's Creed 2, even.
Yeah,
it's the focus is different, so they haven't put the effort in, in that respect, which is fine. I'm okay with that. That's not a problem here, and it's actually in some ways it's quite refreshing that these areas are sort of a little bit diddy. Whilst you're spending your time there, you get to know these little areas because it's easier to learn them, right? Rather than just being running blindly down streets of Rome. Or whatever it was in Revelation, where you've spent your entire game there, but because it's so large, you're not really ever learning it.
Exactly.
And so
Brotherhood that wasn't it? Yeah. Which one was Revelation? Oh, whatever.
No, you're right. That was Brotherhood. Yeah.
But yeah.
Revelation was Constantinople, I think.
God, yeah.
Anyway, it was, but it had that problem, and it gets away from that, which is nice. You only really and it also means they can cater these areas to be more, well-focused challenges.
Yeah.
Right. So the environment is designed in a certain way, where the cover is in a certain place, where the enemy patterns are in a certain way, and it's more choreographed.
for a series of missions, or rather than like a long series of missions, or like most
exactly,
or in the case of Rome, every mission pretty much.
For the most part, this extra tailoring is to its benefit, even though most of the areas fall back on there's a bush there, get in that bush, wait for the guy to come nearby. You're probably all right. You know, a lot of the game basically falls back because bushes are a thing. Like now, I think they were in 3 as well, but like they rely so heavily on it. Like the utter stupidity of that, and in Tomb Raider, I suppose, where you can just freely move through these thick bushes.
No one notices anything rustling.
Hay lying around any longer.
Yeah,
we've advanced technology so far that there's no hay, or like I guess you don't get hay as much on islands. I guess, but they don't have large quantities of grass.
But I'm saying all these things. It's a bit of a weird one because it's like it has got its ups. I like the shift in focus, and I like the pirating, and I like hearing the sea shanties, and the in one sequence attacking a ship to going to board it to killing enough dudes that you take it over is well done. But then it's still Assassin's Creed at its core, and it's by this game it's not. I expect more from it.
And you've played a lot of Assassin's Creed since
all of them up to this point.
Since I played 2 and was like, "This is amazing, you should try it," and then you were like, "Oh, I better play them all."
Well, because you kind of got lent all of the Assassin's Creed 2 series, didn't I? And it was just like, well, I bet someone's been kind enough to give these to me, I better play them. And then I got given Assassin's Creed 3, and then I got given Assassin's Creed 4. There's a bit of like, I should probably just play these because because I keep getting given them, but at the same time, it's like I really hoped by this point that things were progressing way further. It still has that same "I've gained money" noise. It's still got that same like sort of like you've come out of it. Like the sound design and the mechanics design is all very familiar.
I mean, there's been 2 more since this one, and I don't think they've changed it, right?
No, not
what
really.
Has there been? The Unity and the London one, whatever that's called.
Syndicate.
Yeah, whatever.
And the combat is it probably feels. I think like the combat in 2 was actually some of the best, even though it was like hang about, wait for a guy to attack, counter.
Yeah.
At least it was manageable. There are times in this one where it's just like, oh no, now they have guns and things. I'm getting shot by someone off screen, but I couldn't quite see the tiny marker that says he was about to shoot. And like there's the odd mechanics between, I'm not quite sure whether I need to break this guy's defense or if I need to back off and wait for him to counter. Like, what's the strategy with this guy? And it seems to be a bit random between similar looking dudes sometimes. It's just like the combat's not actually that fun. And it also has the sort of problem that all the Assassin's Creed games go where, mysteriously that guy can see me and has immediately gone into combat state.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the undetected condition is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like this stealth is very basic.
Yeah.
After you've played a game like Metal Gear.
Yeah. Where it's really nuanced and well done. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's, and I sort of miss some of the old mechanics of it. Like the guns are still kind of ruin that thing, right? Like they still like the fact that there are guns in this thing, and I'm carrying 3 pistols right now, and they're totally useless.
Yeah, that is dumb.
It's just like this.
And it's a pirate game.
It doesn't
should
feel right.
Have guns and stuff, but it doesn't fit Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
in terms of the gameplay.
Yeah. Like there could have been more to it, and it's like even some of the the way the plot pans out, it feels a little familiar at this point, and it's not to spoil too much. Well, I suppose I can spoil it all I like. It's quite an old game now, but it's it starts out somewhat refreshingly. Like it takes quite a long time for you to be properly introduced to the assassins in this. You're in it for the money for a very long time, just on your own. And and to be honest, where I am in the game, 16 hours in, probably a third of the way through the story, you're still that way. You're not really working for the assassins yet. You've met them, but you kind of pissed them off. Right. And you've been introduced to their secrets and stuff like that. And so you're still kind of a pirate, right? And your pirating is your main thing. It does... As I say, I'm just remembering other things like bad impression stuff, right? You get introduced to mechanics in the game, like you get tutorialized about things, like a really, really long time after you've already figured them out for yourself.
Right, yeah.
Or already discovered something. Like, I found these Mayan statues. And it's like, okay, there's an interact prompt if I climb up them. I'll push that. And then the game says, line up these symbols. All right, I can do that. There's a little puzzle here.
And then hours later,
I've only just been told what those are. And it's like, and what the keys are for. But then, like, the problem is like, it's all sort of, because you do things out of sequence, you'll hear vocal clips and things of which your character would have no understanding of. Like, you'll do one of those Mayan puzzles and you'll dig something out of the ground and you'll go, another Mayan keystone. And it's like, how do I know what this is?
Nice.
Or I could go hunting at one point in the early game before I'd stolen some or acquired the hidden blades, for instance. And the way that I was killing pigs, it was with the hidden blade animation for hidden blades that don't exist. You know, just lots of little things where it's just like, you haven't thought this through, or the game took the effort to tell me, like 15 hours in, hey, you can now fast travel between viewpoints that you've discovered. And it's like, yeah, I've been doing that already. It's like, it's just so weird. You can now fast travel, and it's like, I could have fast traveled from the start of the game. What are you talking about? It's a little unpolished. Yeah, I think
I think it was a bit. I think it was developed quite quickly, that one, wasn't it? It was quite a fast follow up to.
Well, it was only a year after 3.
Yeah.
So it was, but you know, who knows how they're functioning at this point?
Yeah.
With their studios and many things. So it's an odd one, really. It's sort of like, I'm still sort of okay with it, and it is quite calming, but in that sort of like, it does that open world thing that Assassin's Creed does do very well, where it's just like, there's a thing on the map, I'm just going to go get that.
Right.
Like the collectathon element of it is somehow still
the map full of icons.
Yeah, it's somehow still a thing though, right? It somehow still has a power. Like, there's a chest over here, I'll go get it. Oh, there's an animus fragment, whatever the hell that is. And
I think I've collected one too many feathers in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. The thing is with the feathers, you didn't really know what they did until the end, right? But you knew there was a sort of point to them. The animus fragments in this, they are not explained at all. There's no explanation for why I would want them other than just completionism. It's like, why are they there?
How is the meta game with the weird game development?
Okay, so that's kind of weird. Hasn't really played its hand yet. So I'm working for Abstergo Entertainment, who are making the Assassin's Creed games.
Yep.
As it turns out, and you're working on Project 17, which is based around the DNA of Desmond Miles, because they found him dead at the end of Assassin's Creed 3 after the events that take place in that story, and basically sort of nicked his blood and extracted the DNA, and are now hiring people to live through his DNA in the Animus, because you can do that now, apparently. You can live through someone else's DNA in the Animus.
So it solved all the problems in that respect, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the whole reason they needed him was to be able to, because he could
it was
tell
his
them
genetic
what was going
memory.
on.
Yeah.
And also, Animuses are basically just desktop computers with a headset now.
Naturally.
So anyone can
Just
do
like
it.
VR.
Yeah. So you're sort of doing that, but then I've in the second time. There was one time where it forced me out to the out of the game, like back into this working environment, to be like, oh, okay, right, you're gonna. I'm John from IT or something. I've got a favor to ask, and of course that favor is hack into everyone's computer, please, and
because the IT guy can't do it.
Yeah, and give me this and give this data to someone. Oh, that someone is Rebecca from the previous metas. They're clearly assassins. Oh, and Sean, that Danny Wallace character, is working in the coffee bar at this place. Oh, we're still sort of helping we're being stealthily. Not that stealthily, recruited by the assassins. And we'll see how this plays out. It's a bit strange. It's very French. Abstergo is French. Abstergo is quite Ubisoft.
Yep.
What a surprise.
Yeah. It's odd.
Okay.
But I kind of like that it's there in its own stupid way. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that comes out again. But I know they've sort of stepped away from that almost completely in the more recent games.
At least that was the thing about Black Flag, is like it had the interesting thing of the sea stuff, and then it had the slightly more interesting thing of the weird slightly meta video game thing. You know, it was like doing things a bit differently.
It's Ubisoft creating their weird Ubiverse, I suppose, that Watch Dogs 2 is a part of, right?
Like, I guess.
Always Abstergo.
Yeah, always Abstergo. Well, Ubisoft is actually Ubisoft in Watch Dogs, isn't it? So it's not really... It's sort of breaking things a little bit, but...
It's just like Red Faction and all their shit. It was like whatever that... What was the corporation in Red Faction called?
I can't remember.
No.
Mars Tech.
But that corporation, whereas like that existed in like some other game.
UAC. No.
Might as well have been. That like it wasn't even just the Red Faction games always had that corporation. It was like there was other games made by that developer that were in completely different time periods that also had references to that same corporation. They existed all that time.
Oh man, yeah. Because it's the Saints Row guys, isn't it? That worked on Red Faction as well.
I don't know any longer. After that, because
it all went down.
Yeah,
anyway,
after all those companies got broken apart and reformed, it was well confusing.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's the same team behind Saints Row 3 as the same guys behind Red Faction Guerrilla and stuff like that. I think.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah, but yeah, there's another case where you have this like ridiculous. I mean, you could argue that like Doom sort of did it as well. Not the most recent one, I suppose, because that's sort of a reboot. But the other ones, the way they had weird references to like the old games that like almost didn't make sense, but somehow they were vague enough that you were like, yeah, that could have happened like that. Doom 2 could have actually happened in Doom 3.
Right. Well, I think that's the weird thing about all this, that Doom actually just works all the way through all of them, even in the most recent one.
Well, yeah,
it still
the
all works.
They like came up with an even better solution to the problem of
we'll just embrace really demonic presence.
Where they were just like, it was literally like, you know,
some time ago.
You went into hell and then it's almost like stasis as kind of, it's like Halo. It's like you get to the stasis pod and then you come out in a different game.
Oh, I had the urge to play some Halo again the other day.
Yeah, I watched a video of like Halo.
Someone play Halo.
Yeah,
well, I watched the Halo. Oh, I've watched most of the Halo 2 done quick. Oh no, are you talking about the Digital Foundry?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that looked. I want to watch that. That looked quite interesting.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. But basically, the long and the short of it is the best way to play the original Halo is the Master Chief Collection version. You know.
But play it with the original
with
graphics.
Classic graphics,
yeah.
Because they've actually fixed things like the animation running at 30 frames on the PC version and stuff.
Yeah, they sorted all that out.
So that looks like definitely the one to play.
Yeah, Master Chief. All of the Master Chief versions of those games are good. I mean, we had a couple of sound glitches, didn't we? In one of them, I can't remember.
I think it was.
Was it 2?
Yeah, it might have been 2 where like the FMV, the cutscene audio didn't work every time.
Well, we had something about the plasma pistol sound.
Getting
stuck.
Kept getting stuck weirdly.
Oh, right.
Sometimes even the glow as well.
It's just going.
That time where the glow got stuck somehow.
Yeah, and I never quite figured out if that was a co-op. I think it might have been a co-op only bug.
Yeah, possibly.
But,
although that was that the one where we had that weird bug where it was like it was playing the audio to the wrong player.
Oh yeah,
like I was charging the pistol, but you were the one who could hear it, but only when you were standing near me or something.
Yeah, it did do that at one time. Like, yeah, it was playing your sound from my character position, but it only did it when we were next to each other, or something. Or we can only notice it when you're apart. Cause it's like, well, why is everything gone quite quiet?
Yeah,
yeah,
weird.
Yeah, it was a little odd. So it does have a few weird glitches, but like generally, yeah, I agree with that. The Master Chief versions of all of those games that are in it are top notch. You know, definitely the ones to play.
The trouble with watching speedruns of like Halo is you're reminded of all the like story beats and stuff, even though they're skipping over practically everything. And then it's like, yeah, I could go play that, and then you're like. But in order to actually play it, I have to spend like 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
Not 20 minutes or whatever. 40 minutes.
Yeah, what was it? The Halo 2 done quick was like an hour and 40 or something? Or was it 2 and a bit? I can't remember.
I wish it wasn't a speedrun technique to get on the wrong barge when you're going across the... Because that, saves so much time.
Yeah, that was neat. But then all the enemies spawn on your barge, so you've got to be a little careful of that, and it's... Yeah, there was some fun stuff in that video.
Yeah.
The thing is that the amazing thing about Halo is that Bungie thought of most of those things, right? Like where they put some of the secrets in that game.
Well,
it's like I actually didn't know properly that the skulls were in Halo 2 when Halo 2 was a thing. I thought they introduced them for Halo 3. But no, they existed in Halo 2, but they were in such ridiculously hard to reach places that are sort of part of these speedrunning routes.
It's a weird thing that I don't know if it's just something to do with their engine or something that they have collision outside what is normally the level boundaries. It's maybe it's just something in their engine where it's there's no cost to have collision mapping on basic polygons.
Well, collision mapping isn't that expensive anyway.
Yeah, but because in most games it's stuff that's not part of the level, you just fall through it because you're not ever meant to go there.
Well, they didn't build it for that bit of level, yeah.
But in the Halo engine, for some reason, there is just always collision, even in places where you should technically be able to get to.
To a point, there are some buildings you can pass through, and there are some platforms you sink into for some reason.
And at a certain point, the level just stops, obviously.
Yeah.
The stuff where you can't actually see it because there's no reason to ever render anything there.
But yeah, there is normally a basic model. It doesn't have to be that's not necessarily accurate, or sometimes it's not even there, but there's someone, I guess maybe sometimes when they were designing these levels they weren't quite sure how far out they were going to do, or maybe they built them bigger than they expected in case they wanted to change the layout for where you actually went as a player.
Or maybe in some cases where it's certain structures on Halo and that kind of stuff where it's just they've reused a model that you approach from a different direction in another place. So you might as well have had all the collision modeled and then it's just rotated or...
Yeah, there is an element of that, right? Yeah, reusing some geometry in some places. It's we might as well model the whole thing. Yeah. That's logical. Still, hell of a game. Just depressing how easy he got through Cairo
really
Station. God damn it! In Legendary.
Yeah, but he did the tricks to speedrunning Cairo Station is you don't fight anything.
Well, no, but you still have to fight the hangar rooms, the two hardest parts of the game. You still have to fight.
Yeah, but then those hangar rooms, because it was just you just put a grenade under where they're going to spawn, basically.
So, to a point, you have to know the tricks of which enemies can you kill before you trigger the next spawn wave, and when do you want to do that correctly. Basically ignore the grunts, just go for the elites and try and get as many of those.
Yeah,
and just spawn them in the right times. But then when you've killed these guys, you can prepare for the next wave, so you can throw your grenades and stuff. It's there's an awful lot of tricks to know to pull that off successfully, and you've got to just have hella accuracy. You got to be properly good at that game.
Yeah.
It's obscene. Go watch it. It's worth a watch. That guy is godlike. Pretty much any speedrunner, in fairness.
Well, yeah.
Godlike skills.
Ridiculous shit. Man,
it's good to see sword flying again.
Well, yeah. That's that's another classic. Well, that was the thing where they're even playing on a certain version because it's not patched in this version.
Oh no, yeah, they were specifically running the Japanese version as well because certain bits of dialogue are shorter.
Well, that's a speedrunning thing people do all the time.
Yeah, I thought Japanese would be longer, but
you'd be surprised. It's almost always the Japanese is shorter for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's a weird,
in old games it would have been a 50-60 thing in some cases, right?
Well, in old games, a lot of the time it's just the text box is the same size regardless, and they just had to cram whatever English they could in
yeah.
in the translation. I did see when they were doing a 4 players race speed run of Mario Sunshine, one of them was playing in Italian because he was on a PAL version.
Mm.
And the Italian has the shortest text in the PAL version.
Yeah.
But then the PAL speed difference let him do a specific trick at another point that saved time versus the Italian length over the Japanese.
Right, but he was playing the PAL in 50? Because I thought the PAL versions of
I don't actually know
what
how the setup exactly was. But yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So it's this guy's running it in Italian because, well, mainly because that's what he's used to, but also because of this specific timing thing.
Yeah. Huh. It's That's mind-blowing. Speedrunning is incredible, but some dedication needed.
Well, it's like, you think that a lot of the time, a lot of the speedrunning tricks, the major speedrunning tricks are like actual tricks that you could like logically work out. But then when you get to like the really highly optimized speedruns where it's like the text box thing, it's like to even like calculate that would take so fucking long. Because you'd be looking at like every text box in the game and seeing how many frames it's on screen for, and then adding it up over the entire length of a run.
Well, it's like when because they think they keep saying they theoretically have a maximum for the most optimized games for like on NES like Super Mario 3 or the original Super Mario. Like there is an optimized route to it, and then every few years or so, someone discovers something. It's like I saved a frame, and everyone's like,
yes, exactly. But it's easier in the old games because there's less options. But when you're in a modern game
with so many variables going on,
and there's clipping out of the level is like the easiest thing, but everything else beyond that is like so complicated.
Or the unfortunate nature of the Halo 2 checkpoint system, things like that.
Yeah, where you just get random checkpoints. Sometimes you get a checkpoint.
Bonkers.
Yep, it's crazy.
Do you reckon Microsoft's E3 had better be interesting?
Well, considering they're going to have to talk about the score, I think it's fairly guaranteed.
They'd better have games behind the scenes that they're not telling us about. Is what I mean. That thing has to launch with some bigger hitters than what we know about.
It's going to bring out Minecraft.
Oh yeah, mate, using the power of the Scorpio.
Yep. They'll be like, now it runs even better in VR and smart glass.
God. Do you reckon they'll do that? Do you reckon they'll do an Oculus push on this thing?
I don't know, because like the whole fucking smart glass situation, that like they said it once and then that pretty much just disappeared. Are they even still working on it? Who knows?
No, smart glass is done. Smart glass is done as a second screen experience thing. It still works as it always used to, but
wait, I'm not talking about smart glass, am I? What the fuck am I talking about? The other thing.
VR. 3D?
No, the holograms.
Oh, HoloLens. HoloLens is still about, but it's just not.
Yeah, but there's not
just
like
really early
talking about
tech.
it.
Yeah, it's super early. Like you can't expect to see something from that for another year or two.
I mean, it's awesome.
They made such a big deal of it at the time in that E3.
Well,
and then that was essentially the same thing was happening with VR, but VR got out quicker because it's easier.
Yeah, but HoloLens at the moment just isn't even though VR's not that consumer friendly, but HoloLens is like 3 times the price. Like even for the kits that are out there, and it's not even that.
But like, is it ever going to be a thing then?
I think it will be.
Yeah. But I just think it's so far away.
Like it took VR like this time around like 5 years to come about, didn't it?
And even then, it's still not properly mainstream, and PSVR people have trouble with because you need a good set.
But it's consumer level where you can go out and buy one.
Yeah.
But I think
it's got there.
Yeah.
But it's still not mainstream, right?
I just feel like they made too big a deal of that to then have it basically go silent for another 5 years or whatever.
No, well, I think
is ready to come out.
It's not about Xbox HoloLens. It's about Microsoft as a whole innovating or whatever. And it's a kind of a Halo thing where it's like, look, we're doing something cool that no one else is doing. Come and join Microsoft research and we're pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, a Google moonshot. Although Google seems to be scaling back on some of their moonshots.
Because like Google shut down the
self-driving car.
They haven't shut that down, have they?
Yeah. Well, they're not doing it in the way that they originally planned. They've stopped doing it as a fully autonomous vehicle, as in no steering wheel, which was their original plan.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like I think they're now going to partner with people to make. Right. It's not an autonomous car anymore. It's just like some autonomy in a car.
CPU upgrade.
It's what Uber's doing, basically. They've looked at what everyone else is doing and they're just like, we'll do that instead.
But, I mean, they shut down on a more lower scale, they shut down the Google Glass thing after it was a bit silly. But, I mean, they're still thinking about that kind of stuff. I think HoloLens has more, likelihood in terms of AR of being something.
HoloLens is the glass, but with the actual practicalities applied that you'd want.
Well, Glass didn't overlaid stuff over your vision, but Glass didn't do 3D models in the world. It didn't actually.
No. But that's what I mean. It's like the point in Glass was always a bit questionable, right? Like, why would you want?
Whereas
why
HoloLens
would you want that
like,
as it is?
This is cool. I mean, the main problem having tried it is that the field of view is appalling in the current version, and I'm sure they'll get there. And, I don't know about gaming with it, but I mean, they did that E3 with the Minecraft on a table, and it's like, well, sure, I guess that makes sense.
It just feels like that shouldn't have been an E3 demo. At that
No,
point, it should have been like a
not.
CES demo.
You're
Well,
probably
exactly.
right, yeah.
It was, though, I think.
Well, yeah, sure. I'm sure they did it everywhere they could at the time.
So, yeah. So, I don't think it's got anything to do with Xbox.
No, I think that one of the reasons I think they wanted to use that because did they do it at the same time? No, they didn't do it at the same time as Oculus, did they? Didn't have like John Carmack and then the HoloLens running and then
no.
I think
that was subsequent years.
I think they did.
They went back to Minecraft again. They did like mods and VR.
They did like mobile Windows 10 and VR, didn't they? To say like, hey, this is part of our new strategy. We're going to do it everywhere.
Yeah,
but like interconnected on our platforms.
That doesn't seem like that's happened yet either. So
I don't know. Play Anywhere is happening.
No, I didn't.
Not in Minecraft.
I meant Minecraft specifically.
Yeah, but
again, they made another big deal of that in the E3, and then
that might have already happened because it wouldn't have been in the Minecraft you play, though, right? Because it would have been in the Windows 10 edition.
But I'm not sure about the whole intercompatibility and mods and all that stuff they said at that E3.
Oh no, yeah, the mod stuff I don't think has happened. But yeah,
and even VR. I don't know, like what. I don't know. I guess the Windows 10 version might just support VR.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Woot. My phone decrees it's the end.
Apparently. But Dan still has to say something about his games.
That's true. What are you up to?
Just carried on playing Homeworld.
Oh, really? Did you get much further?
Yeah, I'm plodding along. Yeah, I'm still in the first one. It's quite long. Especially because you can't speed up time, as previously discussed. I think in 2, there might be something where you can, like, llama speed, cheetah speed it. But, I mean, that would be sorely needed. I think they should have... But supposedly, this Homeworld 1 is ported to the Homeworld 2 engine, effectively. So, and I can't see anything there. So, anyway. But, yeah, I've got 3 assault cruisers at this point. So, at this point, like, I've kind of dispensed with interceptors and almost all strike craft in general because they're just too vulnerable, and I just have a strike, a capital ship force of 3 cruisers and 6 destroyers and 2 missile destroyers. Missile destroyers are insanely powerful against fighters and strike craft. They're just ludicrous. Right. They rumble towards them and just fire off a bazillion missiles that go flying around and catch up with all of them. It's really, really funny to watch. But you only get the main thing at the moment is the unit caps. Like, I'm just not allowed to build more than 2 missile destroyers, for example. Right. And it's kind of weird because you can capture ships and go over the limit, but then when you lose them, you can't then replace them.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the kind of situation at the moment. So, and I'm getting a bit better at like sneaking my salvage corvettes, which are the capturing ships that don't have any guns, that are really vulnerable, like around the back of the enemies while they're busy fighting, and then come in and nick their ships. Getting a little bit better at that. They have their own cap though, so you can't just build an entire fleet of just salvage corvettes and try and just do no fighting and just steal everything. It doesn't quite work, but still, it's a reasonably high cap, so that's not too bad. But they've just started introducing things like cloaking devices, and you need special probes that reveal the cloaking, stuff like that, or like motion detection probes and grav well generators that inhibit the hyperspace, stuff like that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's
still mechanics coming in then.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of cool. And it has amazing looking skyboxes, obviously, like really nice looking space, and the music is pretty good and atmospheric. So yeah, Homeworld, give it a try.
Yeah, it's good that you're sticking with it.
Have you ever played that?
Despite
You'd probably like it, I reckon. Although it's
I feel like I tried to play it one time, but I don't even remember.
Yeah. Anyway, yep. That's me, I think, pretty much.
Nothing else? Still not back on the Civ yet?
No, I haven't gone back to Civ yet, but maybe I will. I should have done that this week because I had a bit more time, but I think I'll carry on with Homeworld until I'm done with that before I start a whole new Civ game. I think there were patches for Civ, and maybe there will be, coming up or something, because Civ, it is. I think it is. I mean, I've enjoyed playing quite a few games of it since I bought it, and I think I got decent worth out of it for now. But it's the thing everyone says that that game will only realize its full potential, a year from now or whatever, or more when they've released all the stuff.
A couple of expansions.
Yeah, exactly. So that probably will hold true. I think it was pretty good for a. I mean, depends on your perspective. If you're like, well, a game should be good when it comes out, then fair enough. But if you're a veteran Civ player and you just think, well, you always have to wait for it to be the best possible, then on those grounds,
Civ player, you haven't bought it yet.
Yeah, on those grounds, I think it was a pretty good state when it came out. But that doesn't mean it won't still be better in future. So
it'll be interesting to know what they do this time with their expansions, because it's closer to what an expanded game would.
Well,
would
most
be
people
in
just
Civ
complaining
world,
about the
isn't it?
AI, basically. So if they can find a way to fix that, they should just focus on that. I don't know how they.
But then they should have done that years ago, right?
I know, but I mean, now's as good a time as any, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's always.
They aren't always working time on Civ any longer. They're probably thinking out like, I don't know, fucking XCOM 3 or something.
I don't know. I reckon they have a Civ team. I don't reckon they stand it down.
No, I don't think. They must have at least 2 teams.
Yeah, definitely.
Or maybe something even more stupid, like Beyond Earth 2.
I think they'll stick with this.
Not Alpha Centauri.
Right, yeah, okay, yeah, I remember now. Sorry.
I think they put a lot into this, and I don't know if they'll branch away from it that much.
They can't, it doesn't seem right to be already going straight from 6 to 7, even if they do make 2 expansions. It seems like the cycle on Civ is getting too short.
Well, maybe
quickly.
They could just release more and more expansion and keep it running. I think they'll keep this one going for a while, because they've obviously put a lot into it.
I'm not sure. I think there's a marketing thing about it being a new numbered game, right? Isn't it? So they'll come back to it eventually.
But you can't make a new Civ game that fast. You just can't.
I mean, it was basically what happened to Settlers, right? Once you were getting up to 7 and 8, it was like, what the fuck are you even doing?
Yeah.
Well, even are those games past 3, in fairness?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the pace
that was more a problem that they fucked up the formula rather than it just being too frequent.
I mean, 2 came out in 96, and now we're on 6.
7.
That's.
Oh no, wait.
That's
7.
10 years.
Well, I guess technically we're on 7 for Civ. If you're going to say what we're about to have coming out.
I guess, yeah. No, we're on 6. We're on 6.
It'll be ages. So, yeah. Maybe I'll go back to that. But these are time-consuming games. I saw a Let's Play yesterday of FTL, and I was like, I should probably play that again. That's time-consuming.
That might be worth a rough cut at some point.
Yeah, the 3rd FTL run on our channel.
Yeah, maybe. But it's one of those games I don't really like to play on my own anymore. It's like I found it fun playing it with as a team and just mucking about in it a bit, but still succeuding. And so playing on my own, it's kind of like I don't have that drive anymore.
Stressful. It's just because you liked my knowledge.
Yeah,
you like my already knowing what things meant and how to manipulate.
Well, yeah, but there's something about that game on its own without that knowledge. Just it lost its fun for me. It lost its it was just too harsh.
It's because you saw what you didn't know, and then you didn't want to have to go through the effort to learn it.
Yeah, I guess.
Right, that's it for the Saladcast, I reckon. Yep. So thanks for joining us, listeners. Check out our newly shit quality videos on Happy Salad channel on YouTube, and we're on happysalad.net and on iTunes for more podcasts coming up. So catch you for them in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Like a couple of weeks or a couple of weeks?
A couple of weeks.
Well, you can't say specifically a couple of weeks for us, can you?
No.
Because at least it might be a day different, if not more.
Okay, so yeah, like a couple of weeks.
Like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Bye.